In the testing ground, the three strongest students finally showed why everyone feared them. First was Singy, the speed monster. Even though physical strength was not his specialty, one punch still scored over 4,000. Then he used his cloud-hidden Gale Fist, and the score exploded past 5,600, shocking the entire room. Next was Zhao, the telekinetic genius. Her body was weaker, but once she condensed her spirit power into a giant weapon, her strike nearly reached 6,000. Everyone instantly understood why telekinesis was so unfair. Then came Tantuo, the combat beast with the barbarian god physique. His normal punch almost matched Singhei's martial arts score. But when he used his A-rank Bone Nether Flame Fist, the machine showed over 7,500. At that moment, everyone believed first place already belonged to him. But then Su Hong was called, the same Su Hong who ranked last during the entrance test. The students laughed, thinking he was about to embarrass himself. But the moment his fist landed, a violent wind swept through the hall, and the machine displayed over 6,500 from raw strength alone. The laughter died instantly. Then Su Hong used the same Bone Nether Flame Fist Tantuo had just shown. One punch shook the whole testing ground, covered the room in dust, and pushed his score past 9,000. Even worse, his vital blood was only 137. In other words, his level was trash, but his combat power was monstrous. And just when everyone thought the test was over, Grandmaster Qin made it even crazier. He ordered Singe, Zhao, and Tantuo to attack Su Hong together. The three geniuses thought it was insulting. They believed Su Hong would be crippled if they went too hard, but Su Hong accepted without hesitation. The fight began, and Singe tried to use his speed to blindside him. Zhao used telekinesis to freeze him. Tantuo charged in with his flame fist. For a moment, it looked like Su Hong was trapped. Then he smiled. With pure strength, he shattered Zhao's control, grabbed Tantuo's fist, caught Singhei's foot, and used the two geniuses like cleaning rags, smashing them into the ground again and again. By the time he stopped, Zhao surrendered without even fighting back. So how did this guy become so strong? Let's go back a bit. He used to train with his friend in a dojo, and his friend notices that there is something different about his skill. This is when Su Hong reveals that he broke through to the Minute of Subtlety 2 days ago. When talking about the Minute of Subtlety, it is one of the martial mastery levels of this world, and the martial techniques are divided into 5 levels. The first is the beginner, the second is the Minute Subtlety, the third is the mastery, the fourth is the greater mastery, and the last one is the perfection. Su Hong's friend is blown away by this, and he tells Su Hong that he is basically untouchable among his peers when it comes to Vajra Fist. When Su Hong's friend realizes that the dude is not getting tired from all the training they have done, he decides to back out, telling Su Hong that he needs to go home because he is not a beast like him. On his way out, he runs into their teacher Li, who is there to look for Su Hong. Li tells Su Hong about the martial examination and the need to pay 30,000 yuan to register, with the deadline being next Monday. Su Hong nervously asks the teacher if he can't give him a few more days, and the man admits that he knows all about Su Hong's suffering. He's aware that his family is in a tight spot, but there is nothing he can do to help, since rules are rules. After the teacher is gone, Su Hong continues training, and soon afterward, he is the only one left in the room. He is left thinking about his life so far. He remembers how his parents died when he was just 3 years old, and this is thanks to a ferocious beast disaster. Since then, Su Hong has been living with his aunt and uncle. Apparently, after they discovered his martial talent, they decided to support his training with everything they had, since this era gives martial practitioners enough money to live the best life. Su Hong is heartbroken that he is doing everything to become good at martial arts, but he only keeps making things worse. Later that night, Su Hong arrives at the door of the house to hear his uncle and aunt talking about how hard things are. Apparently the rent is almost due, but they are ready to delay the rent just so they can pay Su Hong's registration fee. They believe that Su Hong is such a magnificent talent that they can't hold back. It turns out that his aunt is even suffering from an incurable disease, but she is ready to stop taking her medicine so that they can save a lot of money. However, his uncle refuses, telling his wife to keep taking her medicine while he takes on another job to support the family. Hearing all of these, Su Hong almost breaks down in tears, but he is able to pull himself together, and he happily enters the house like he didn't just hear everything they were talking about. His aunt scolds him for training so late into the night, believing that he must be exhausted already. Su Hong offers to help with the task they are doing, but they refuse, suggesting that he take his rest first. While lying on his bed, Su Hong decides that he needs to start fixing things by himself because his guardians have sacrificed a whole lot for him. Since he is looking to make some cool cash, he figures out that there is only one place he can go as a martial cultivator. Later on, Su Hong heads to the Martial Apprentice Arena Defense Challenge, which is an underground fighting arena. Su Hong wears a minotaur mask on his head to conceal his identity, and the host tells Su Hong that all he needs to do is win 4 consecutive matches to take home 60,000 yuan. However, he is not allowed to lose because if he loses just once, he will get nothing. The crowd is not entirely thrilled by Suhong's presence since it is the first time they have heard of him or even seen him. They mock him, saying he is playing with his life because the underground arena is not a place for rookies, unless he is looking for death. Seeing that the crowd is dulled by his presence, the female hostess urges Suhong to heat up the crowd. Suhong is totally new to things like this, and he asks the hostess how he is supposed to do this. She gives him ideas like taunting the crowd or even trash-talking them. Suhong follows her advice and screams out, telling the crowd that he is invincible while calling his opponents weaklings. This only makes things worse for him, since the crowd immediately concludes that he is arrogant. The crowd immediately switches up to his opponent, telling him to tear Suhong apart. Suhong finally understands why it is an underground arena because the killing intent is all over the place. However, he has no choice because this is the only way he can earn the tuition money, but he can only hope that his Vajra fist carries him through a few wins. Suhong analyzes his opponent and realizes that he is just an easy opponent. The dude makes the first move, leaping towards Suhong with a punch, but Suhong easily counters him by smacking his head into the ground, easily knocking him out. Suhong raises his hand in excitement, but the crowd is not entirely pleased with his display. In no time, the next opponent climbs onto the stage, and he assures Suhong that he is going to beat the crap out of him because he was only lucky to have defeated his first opponent. With a quick analysis, Suhong realizes that the dude is actually quite decent, and he beckons to him to charge at him. The dude leaps towards Suhong with a fist, but this time, Suhong meets him halfway with his own punch. With this, Suhong figures out that the dude might be decent, but he is actually inferior to him in strength. The dude basically left himself open after one attack, and Suhong is able to capitalize on this, landing a kick to the dude's waist to send him flying. The dude is sent into the wall and knocked out immediately, ultimately giving Suhong 2 consecutive wins. Meanwhile, the man in charge is watching the whole thing unfold from his office, and he is surprised at how skilled Suhong is, even though he is not even a quasi-martial practitioner. Before they know it, Suhong has gone past his third opponent, with just one match standing in between him and 60,000 yuan. The man says Suhong is the perfect match for fixed matches, and his junior, who is wearing a fox mask, offers to go recruit Suhong. The man tells Mr. Fox not to reveal the fact that he has already advanced to a true martial practitioner. Meanwhile, Suhong already sees himself holding the 60,000 yen in his hands because he believes that he can handle his opponents with his minute subtlety-level Vajra fist. Just then, the fox, who is known by the crowd as White Fox, steps into the arena, and everyone is blown away. They are not entirely impressed with White Fox's involvement because they know that he is pretty strong. When Suhong hears that the dude is a quasi-martial practitioner, he realizes that it is going to be a tough fight, but he is not ready to lose. White Fox sees the uneasiness on his face, and he urges him to chill out, assuring him that he is going to go easy on him. The referee then starts the match, and since Suhong can sense that he is inferior to White Fox, he decides to go all out from the beginning. Their fists meet halfway, and the force from the punch immediately tells Suhong that he is wrong. He realizes White Fox is not a quasi-martial practitioner, but a genuine martial practitioner who deliberately suppressed his vital blood energy. Sweat runs down his body, and before he even knows what is happening, White Fox punches him into the distance with his Thunder Rush Fist technique, which is a triple resonance Thunder Rush Fist. Suhong crashes to the ground with the attacks ravaging his body. The crowd is blown away when they see this, and they conclude that Suhong is done for. The fight continues, and Suhong is forced to be on the defensive. White Fox continues to taunt Suhong, telling him to show his true self because he appears to be weak. Suhong, on the other hand, cannot even move from where he is, and he knows for sure that if this keeps up, he is dead. He is looking for an opening when White Fox lands a punch straight to his face that sends him flying into the distance. Suhong crashes to the ground with his face disfigured and the realization that he is slowly losing consciousness. White Fox places his leg on him, telling him that if this keeps up, he won't be able to get the prize money that was promised. However, he lets him know that he has an offer for him. He tells him to join them and starts throwing matches for them while collecting the match's full prize. Suhong confidently tells White Fox that he is not interested in something so shameless. White Fox's tone and expression change as he tells Suhong to rethink his decision because he can't refuse them. However, Suhong tells them that they need to cover their faces in shame because they call themselves martial practitioners with the sort of trash stunt that they are pulling. Since Suhong is not going to accept his offer, White Fox tells him that he is going to render him useless, so he won't be able to practice martial arts again. White Fox throws a kick at Suhong, but the moment Suhong realizes the gravity of what White Fox said, he pulls himself together and dodges the attack. He gets back on his feet with the fierce determination that he is not allowed to fail. White Fox is surprised to see that Suhong can still stand even though he just took the full power of his Thunder Rush Fist. Unknown to him, Suhong is driven by the will to become a martial practitioner so he can let his family live a good life. For a moment, he considers White Fox's offer, but he immediately trashes it again because he is not someone who would accept such a trash offer to build his future on. Suddenly, a status window appears in front of him, and the system asks him what he is willing to give for his family. Without hesitation, Suhong replies that he would give everything. An overwhelming aura swirls around his body, and he suddenly finds himself in a strange space. There is a giant golden figure in front of him who tells Suhong that he is going to give him a chance. Suddenly, a golden status window appears in front of Suhong, which displays Suhong's stats and techniques. Suhong wonders if it is a touchscreen, but he immediately confirms that it is with just a touch of his hand. He checks out the task section, where he finds a task named Path of the Arena. He is expected to hone his martial arts in that space and then return outside to deal with White Fox. Since it is the newbie tutorial, he is informed that there is no reward for it. Suhong is wondering what the task is all about when his clone appears behind him and throws a punch at his head. Suhong barely dodges it and realizes that his clone is using the same skill as him. In fact, his clone's skill appears to be even more refined than his, which is more or less a textbook standard. Since he has gotten himself a worthy opponent and an example to learn from, Suhong decides to throw everything into it. Suhong goes after his clone, but the clone easily dodges his strike before landing a counterattack that shifts Suhong backwards. Suddenly, Suhong realizes that the progress on his technique has increased to 10%, and it was 7% before the duel began. This is when Suhong realizes the simple truth that his clone can help him master his technique faster. Suhong dashes toward him, and they start exchanging blows, with each punch increasing the mastery of the technique. Before he knows it, he masters a bunch of techniques just from training with his clone and getting a beating from himself. After a rigorous session, he finally gets a congratulatory message from the system, telling him that he has completed the task. He is asked if he wants to return to reality, and he says yes. Back in reality, White Fox believes that Suhong is just playing around by acting all cool and mysterious. He dashes towards Suhong, swinging a punch at his face, but all he catches is Suhong's afterimage. Suhong easily dodges the dude's attack while telling him that he is too slow. The next thing that White Fox knows is a punch coming straight at his face, shattering his mask while reconfiguring his facial bones. Just one punch from Suhong knocks White Fox to the ground, with the crowd going totally nuts about it. Suhong then turns to the hostess, asking her when he is going to get his money because he just won his 4th match. The lady is totally startled by what she just witnessed, and she takes her time before announcing Suhong as the winner, while revealing that he is going to be given the 60,000 yuan reward. The owner of the establishment is blown away by what he just witnessed, leaving him to wonder how a martial apprentice is able to master the Vajra fist technique. The man then tells 2 of his men to follow Suhong so that they can find out who he is. On his way back home, Suhong quickly catches on to the fact that he is being followed, and he wastes no time engaging in a maneuver tactic that throws the dudes off his tail. They are left wondering where he disappeared to, but unknown to them, he is hanging right above them. An hour later, Suhong returns home, and he gives his guardians the money he just made. They are shocked when they see this, and they ask him where he got the money from. Suhong lies that he made the money from being a sparring partner at the dojo where he works. He adds that they have decided to sponsor his training because of how talented he is, and the uncle is surprised to hear this, since he once complained about how stingy the dojo is. Suhong calms the 2 down, asking them if they don't trust him. The 2 immediately come to their senses, agreeing that their nephew would never lie to them. Later that night, Suhong heads to the roof to think about how good the day went. He has been able to sort out the martial examination registration and even figure out his rent. In fact, his aunt's medical bills have been covered to some extent. Suhong is glad that he was able to turn danger into safety thanks to the system, but he realizes that aside from the technique levels, the other values didn't change. He notices that there is something called martial Dao value, but he doesn't know what it does. The system tells him that defeating an opponent that is above his level would give him 67 martial Dao value points, and this can be used to increase vital blood and martial techniques, so he should use it wisely. Suhong decides to try it out immediately, and he increases his vital blood, which immediately reflects on his body. His vital blood jumps to the 90 mark, and he realizes that he has reached the quasi-martial practitioner level. He decides to add all the points he has to vital blood, and he immediately notices an increase in his physical strength, while most of his injuries have fully recovered too. Since he is sensing an overwhelming power in his body, he figures out that getting a good place to try it out is the best way out. He decides to head to the school's martial training ground, where there is a combat power tester. Moments later, he arrives at the Star City No. 1 high school martial training field, where the device is located. It turns out that it is a Tier 1 combat tester, and he decides to use 70% of his punch power to try it out. He takes a deep breath before punching the device, and to his dismay, he destroys it. Suhong knows he is dead if they find out that he is the one who ruined the machine. At the same time, he just concludes that the machine is bad, which is why it got damaged too easily. Suddenly, he hears someone coming in his direction, and this is because they heard the noise from the tester. It turns out to be the principal, and the old man almost loses his head when he realizes that the school's test has been smashed. He immediately concludes that this is the work of the two school geniuses, Chen Shan and Li Tu. The principal decides to teach the two a lesson when the school resumes. Later on, the students gather at the school gym, and Su-hong notices that Chen Shan is all beaten up. He asks his friend what happened, and he tells Su-hong that Chen Shan was beaten because he smashed the field tester the night before. Su-hong cannot even say anything to this because he realizes that the old man made sure to make Chen Shan take the fall. Just then, the principal shows up, and he screams at the students to keep their mouths shut, telling them that he invited one of his comrades in arms who is a Tier 3 martial practitioner. Basically, he is there to teach everyone a C-rank martial art, the Thunder Rush Fist. The students are blown away by this because this is the first time they are going to be seeing a Tier 3 martial practitioner. Apparently, outside dojos usually charge hundreds of thousands for teaching C-rank martial arts, but they are about to get it for free in the school. Su-hong, on the other hand, remembers that it is the same technique that White Fox used during their match. Su-hong admits that it is quite powerful since it is a triple resonance punch. Since the opportunity might only come once, Su-hong plans to make the best of it. The trainer then tells the students to pay attention because he is only going to demonstrate the skill 10 times from start to finish. He lets them know that how much they learn about it is up to them. Without wasting time, the trainer begins the demonstration and he throws one punch while explaining that the Thunder Rush has several levels. Basically, each punch produces one thunderous boom, and at mastery, it produces 3 resonances. At minute subtlety, it produces 5 resonances, and at greater mastery, it produces 7, which is the trainer's current level. However, he lets them know that if the technique is perfected, it can produce 9 resonances. Nonetheless, he tells them not to rush themselves because even if it is only the beginner level they reach that day, it is enough. The trainer then tells them to follow his example as he starts the second demonstration. Hours later, the students are already exhausted, and no one has even been able to get it. Surprisingly, Su-hong is no longer in the hall, and his friend wonders where he has disappeared to. Moments later, Chen Shan reaches beginner level, and he remains the only person who did among the students. This further proves his status as the genius of the school. The principal excitedly tells the trainer that Chen Shan is the genius of the school, and he asks him if he is interested in giving him some guidance. However, the trainer is disappointed in what the principal is referring to as the genius in his class. He tells the man that Chen Shan is average at best. While walking to the entrance of the school, the trainer tells the principal, Li, that his students are trash, and he basically just made him waste a good trip. Li tells the trainer that he should be happy that he even found one student who reached beginner level because getting a top-tier genius is basically impossible. The trainer then tells the old man that martial cultivation is harsh, which means talent is too important. The principal agrees that relying only on effort without destiny is basically impossible. Suddenly, they spot a student practicing in the school field, and this student turns out to be Su-hong, but his back is facing them, so they don't recognize him. Right in their presence, Su-hong is able to wield the 7 Resonance Thunder Rush Fist, which shocks them. The trainer asks Li about Su-hong, but he doesn't even know he has someone that talented in his school. They are further shocked when they realize that Su-hong has reached greater mastery in what the trainer just showed them some hours ago. Just then, Li notices that the trainer is standing still, as if he is trying to understand something. Li asks him what the problem is, but suddenly the trainer tells the principal that he has finally understood what he needs to do. He clenches his fist and throws a punch to activate the 8 resonances, which shocks Li. Li can't believe that the trainer just broke through right there, and the man reveals that watching Su-hong just gave him inspiration. He admits that he might never have been able to break through if not for him. However, he suggests that they ignore all boring conversations and just find out who the student is. They rush into the field, but to their surprise, Su-hong has already vanished. As he walks away from the school, Su-hong expresses his surprise at how exhausting it is to cultivate a C-rank technique. Since his Thunder Rush Fist has already reached perfection, he figures out that he has to find a way to earn martial Dao value to break through to martial practitioner as soon as he can. He wonders if he is going to gain points if he spars with someone instead of risking his life in a life-or-death situation. Later on, Su-hong arrives at the Thunder Dojo, where he works part-time. Upon entering the dojo, his friend asks him why he is there that day, and Su-hong replies that he is just there to get some practice. Meanwhile, a purple-headed student is busy arguing with another student. Su-hong asks his friend what the issue is, and he reveals that the new instructor is the purple-head's teacher. Basically, the instructor is pretty strong, but he looks down on commoners as if they are not humans. The purple head is Lian, and he is also pretty strong. Lian is about to beat up the student he is arguing with when Su-hong grabs his arm, telling him to chill out. Lian is pissed that a regular dude just grabbed him, and he demands to know who he is. In fact, he tells Suhong to fight him one-on-one in the arena if he thinks he is a big shot. Suhong doesn't hesitate before accepting the request, but the instructor enters at the right time to ruin everything. He tells them to get ready for class, and Lian taunts Suhong, telling him that he literally got lucky. The instructor then reveals that it is his last day teaching the students the furious sea spear art, which he is only going to demonstrate once, just like he's always done. Deep down, the instructor doesn't expect any of them to learn it since he believes that they are all trash. The instructor does as he promised, and he demonstrates the move just once, but Suhong is able to lock everything into his memory. The instructor walks away, telling the students that the rest is up to them, but they scream at him, telling him that he only demonstrated it once. While they are all arguing and protesting, Suhong proceeds to try out what he just crammed into his brain. To everyone's surprise, Suhong gets it really well, leaving his peers in shock. The students start believing that they are really stupid, which is why they can't learn it. Just then, Leon enters the room again because he can hear the students' excitement from the other room. He is surprised to see that Suhong has actually learned the technique, and he decides that he has to test the dude's depth if he is really a genius. Leon calls Suhong's attention, telling him that he would like to give him some pointers on the spear art. Suhong agrees to this, and this gets Suhong's friend really worried. He tells Suhong that even though Leon is arrogant, he is actually strong. Suhong then tells his friend not to worry about him, and Suhong points his spear at Leon, taunting him. Leon is pissed at how arrogant Suhong is, and he dashes at him with his technique, but Suhong meets him halfway with a pretty good technique too. Leon is left in shock, while also wondering how Suhong is able to cultivate his technique to the mastery realm so fast, even though he is not a martial practitioner. The two continue swinging at each other. Suhong enters flow state with his eyes glowing, and he ultimately smashes Leon's spear out of his hand. The system immediately informs him that he has been awarded 35 points because he defeated an opponent who is above his level. Suhong is pleased to see this because it is just as he suspected. Since normal sparring can earn him points, he figures out that he would just continue sparring with more people. Leon, on the other hand, is on his knees wondering how he was defeated by someone he believes to be trash. He doesn't want to accept defeat, and he gets on his feet, dashing towards Suhong with a punch, but the instructor enters just in time to stop the fight. The instructor walks up to Leon and smacks him in the face, telling him that he can't fully call himself a martial practitioner unless he is able to face failure. Leon cannot believe that he just got scolded by his master because of Suhong. Deep down, the instructor is curious about how Suhong was able to reach mastery just by watching his demonstration once. The dude knows that the geniuses in the capital would have even had a time doing what Suhong just did. He knows that Leon is talented, but he is too arrogant, and he believes that being humbled by Suhong would teach him some manners. The instructor grabs Leon's head and forces him to bow to Suhong. The instructor also apologizes to Suhong, telling him that it is his fault for not teaching Leon well. Suhong cannot believe how fast the instructor can change his tone. That night, Suhong heads home, and on his way, he checks out the rewards he got thanks to the spar and teachings. Even though he is exhausted, he is grateful for the rewards. He remembers that the school exam is coming in a few days, and the students who have money have prepared high-grade alloy weapons, which means he also has to prepare a weapon of his own. Since the spear he used felt really comfortable, he decided to stick with spears, and he concluded that he would have to buy an alloy spear. However, he has just a little money, which is not even enough for his aunt's treatment, not to mention buying a spear. He starts racking his head if there is any other way to make money, and just then, he notices that an important piece of news is being displayed on the screen. It turns out that the city lord is recruiting martial practitioners because of the increasing number of ferocious beasts. Suhong immediately puts this on his bucket list. Moments later, he arrives at the house, and he immediately jumps on the task his aunt is working on to help her. He helps place massage plasters on his uncle's back, while telling him not to overwork himself again, since he can now make money for the family. His uncle admits that this would be nice, but he doesn't think he can sit idly. His uncle tells him not to worry because he is just earning a bit for daily expenses, so he won't push himself. Suhong's aunt then reminds him that he is going to need a lot of money for his martial arts training later, which is why they want to save as much as they can for him. Suhong immediately figures out that his uncle and aunt won't sit down to rest because they are already used to living in hard times, which means the only solution is to make a crazy amount of money to assure them that they don't have to worry about working themselves to death. This further cements his decision to earn from the ferocious beast hunt. However, he is aware that the wilderness is dangerous, and to be safe, he figures out that he would need to raise his strength as much as possible. He decides to put all the martial Dao points he has into vital blood. After adding all the points he has, his vital blood level shoots up to 95.2, which is just a step away from becoming a martial practitioner. After 2 full days of working really hard, Suhong is able to bring all of his martial techniques into perfection. Since his preparations are now complete, he figures out that it is time to leave the city to hunt beasts. That Saturday, Suhong heads to the Star City Martial Practitioner base, and since it is his first time coming there, he is surprised at how far it is. Upon entering the base, she realizes that it is filled with martial practitioners that one won't see every day. Suhong picks up a manual where he learns of the points awarded to each ferocious beast defeated from Tier 1, early stage, down to the late stage. It turns out that after killing a ferocious beast, one is required to cut off its left ear as proof or the kill won't be counted. He is looking around when he notices a group entering the base. The big guy among them carries a big bag on his back which is obviously filled with left ears. The arrival of the group catches everyone's attention, and leading the group is a blonde-haired fellow, Suhong notices something strange about his aura and his outfit, which makes him believe that is White Fox from the underground arena. It turns out that the practitioners don't really like Ye, and most of them would have beaten him up if his uncle wasn't the base manager. Ye soon notices Suhong standing in the distance, and they lock eyes. Suhong immediately figures out that he has to worry about humans while also worrying about beasts. After he is done settling his affairs, Suhong tells the official that he is heading out alone, and the official believes that Suhong is just going to die in the wilderness because he is trying to prove that he is tough. As he steps into the woods, Suhong makes a decision to return with a bag full of monster ears. 2 hours later, Suhong is already getting frustrated because he has walked around without sighting a single beast. Since he's walked around the outskirts with no luck, he decides to go deeper into the forest. He hasn't even gone that far when he runs into a phantom moonwolf, which is a Tier 1 early-stage ferocious beast. It is his first time seeing one physically, and the beast wastes no time leaping toward him with clear intentions of tearing him apart. With the beast charging in recklessly, Suhong meets it halfway with a powered punch that sends it flying into the tree. With just a punch from Suhong, the monster is sent to the afterlife. Even though he is trembling, Suhong cannot help but admit that it was a thrilling experience more than he imagined. He realizes that with his current strength, he can kill a Tier 1 early-stage ferocious beast in one move, which leaves him wondering how he would fare against a Tier 1 mid-stage. Meanwhile, he is being stalked by another monster that is watching from deep into the woods. Suddenly, the monster makes its move, and it turns out to be a furious black bear, which is a Tier 1 mid-stage ferocious beast. It leaps toward Suhong, aiming to catch him off guard, but Suhong takes it down relatively easily too. With this, Suhong concludes that he is not in any sort of danger as long as he doesn't run into Tier 2 ferocious beasts. Suhong cuts off the bear's ear, and he smiles because he has just secured 3,000 bounty. Just then, the system tells him that he now has enough martial Dao points to break through to a martial practitioner. Suddenly, he feels an overwhelming presence in the distance, which catches his attention. This leaves Suhong wondering what type of beast could emit such a terrifying presence. He decides to go check it out, and he dashes toward where the aura was coming from. By the time he gets there, he finds a group of martial practitioners getting torn apart by a scary black jade giant python, which is a Tier 1 late-stage ferocious beast. One of the martial practitioners tries to block the serpent with his shield, but he gets smacked into a rock, ultimately relieving him of his life debt. Before he knows it, he realizes that the snake has locked onto him. The snake rushes at him, forcing him to frantically leap backward. However, the snake is so fast that it is able to close the distance in no time, landing a hit that causes Suhong to cough up blood. Suhong cleans the blood in his mouth, and he grabs the spear of one of the dead practitioners, telling the dead fellow that he would like to borrow his spear. Suhong then stands fearless in front of the snake, but this only makes the snake even angrier. The snake comes after Suhong with ferocity, forcing Suhong to run. Basically, defeating this type of monster would take a bunch of martial practitioners working together. However, all of his martial techniques have reached perfection, and he can easily kill a Tier 1 mid-stage furious black bear, so he believes that he has a chance against the python. Suhong engages his movement techniques to try to get the edge over the snake before hitting it with spear art. The spear passes through the snake's body, causing it to scream out in pain. The spear comes out from the other side, and Suhong quickly goes after the spear. He pulls out the spear and hurls it at the python again. This time around, the spear pierces the snake's neck, leaving a hole in it, while the python gets even angrier. The snake violently goes after Suhong, trying to catch him off guard, but Suhong is too agile for the snake to catch. Because of the size difference between them, Suhong knows that it is pretty difficult for him to land a killing blow in one strike. Since it has come to this, he figures out that he can only weaken the beast as much as he can until he is able to deliver the killing strike. While dodging the snake's movements, Suhong lands a powerful punch to the snake's body before going after his spear again. Suhong has been creating distance between himself and the snake after every attack, so he can find another opening to strike again. Even though the method is draining his stamina, he has no choice because it is the only safe method that he can use. While he is panting like a dog, Suhong notices that the snake is already getting exhausted too. Suhong is convinced that he can defeat the snake after a couple of exchanges. This motivates Su-hong, and just as he's about to start another phase of attack, he senses something strange behind him. He looks behind to see the big guy on Ye's team leaping toward him with a punch. Su-hong manages to raise his arm just in time to block the attack, but he is sent flying into the distance thanks to the heavy punch. Su-hong manages to get on his knees while coughing hard from the attack. He looks up to see Ye and his gang showing up in their numbers, and without hesitation, Ye tells Su-hong to surrender the python to him. Ye tells Su-hong that he thought he would die in the forest because he saw him leaving the city alone. However, he is surprised that he is lucky enough to have run into a wounded python. While they are busy discussing this, the python is already on the verge of death. And since Ye claimed he was just lucky to have found the python, Su-hong figures out that they just arrived. Su-hong knows that he is outnumbered, and to make it worse, they are martial practitioners. Su-hong is thinking about a way forward when the big guy lunges at him again. He screams at Su-hong, telling him to get lost. But Su-hong is overtaken with anger. He screams at the dude, telling him that he was only forced to repel his earlier attack because it was a surprise attack. He asks the dude if he seriously thinks he can't beat all of them up. Su-hong then meets the dude halfway with a powerful punch, and before he can even react, he gets punched in the head. The dude is knocked to the ground, ultimately taking him out of the picture. Seeing Su-hong's skill, Ye immediately confirms that he is the Minotaur dude from the underground arena. Ye tells Su-hong that he is literally the first person to ever humiliate him badly in front of many people. Ye then orders his lackeys to kill Su-hong. Seeing that he is about to be jumped, Su-hong grabs the spear and leaps into the forest. The dudes chase after him, but thanks to the dense forest, Su-hong is able to stay hidden. However, the gang is not afraid of Su-hong since he is just one person. Suddenly, Su-hong appears out of nowhere, and before the dude with a face mask even knows what is happening, he gets smacked really hard into the ground. Su-hong vanishes immediately, and Ye realizes that our guy is pretty fast. At this point, Ye's lackeys have started getting worried because the skill Su-hong just used is not to be joked with. However, Ye screams at them, telling them to keep their mouths shut. Meanwhile, Su-hong is hiding in a tree, and he knows that he would have been able to take on all of them head-on if the snake hadn't drained his stamina. Since this is the case, he is left with the only safe option, which is to pick them off one by one. Su-hong leaps off the tree, and he throws his spear beside them to catch their attention. The moment they lose focus because of the spear, he goes after the one with the nice hair and kicks him in the head, knocking him out completely. The last guy on the team screams like a baby, telling Ye that it would be nice if they ran because Su-hong is too strong, but Ye refuses, saying he has to kill Su-hong that very day. Before he knows it, Su-hong appears out of nowhere just like before and smacks the last guy to the ground, leaving Ye as the only person on the team. At this point, Ye is already shitting his pants, wondering how Su-hong was able to get that strong in just a few days. Since he is the last person on the team, Su-hong decides to toy with him. Su-hong runs past him, and by the time he turns around, Su-hong is already gone. Su-hong then reappears behind him, but Ye is able to react to this. He screams at Su-hong, telling him not to be overconfident, believing that he has cornered him. Ye fires off an energy blast from his finger that Su-hong barely dodges. The blast misses Su-hong's head, and it destroys the tree behind him. To keep Su-hong away, Ye continues firing off energy blasts from his finger, which is thanks to a skill called Void-Breaking Finger. Su-hong is forced to keep changing locations, and realizing how strong Ye's technique is, he wonders if it is a B-rank skill. Ye then starts to yap, telling Su-hong to show himself, but he doesn't stop there. He proceeds to threaten Su-hong's family, saying he is going to have them killed when he returns to the city. This turns out to be his biggest mistake, as Su-hong immediately goes into frenzy mode. He ignores the essence of fear, and he dashes toward Ye's position. Ye is still boasting about his connections when a bloodthirsty Su-hong appears behind him with a powerful punch. He tells Ye that he actually preferred his arrogant self before punching him so hard in the head. Ye's head almost twists from his body as he is sent flying into the distance before crashing into a wall. Su-hong looks like a demon straight from hell as he walks toward Ye, telling him that he should have left his family out of it. With blood pouring out of his body like water, Ye asks Su-hong how he got this strong, which is supposed to be impossible. He is still asking stupid questions when the black python appears behind him and smacks him into the ground with its giant tail. The snake then turns its attention to Su-hong, and it looks angrier than before as it screams at Su-hong. Su-hong realizes that he has spent too much time fighting Ye, which has given the snake the time to recuperate. Meanwhile, Ye's lackeys have regained consciousness, and while they are wondering where Ye is, they see Su-hong running towards them. Just as they are preparing to engage him in a fight, Su-hong screams at them to get out of the way. It soon dawns on them that Su-hong is being chased by the black python. Su-hong dashes past them, but because of how slow they are killed by the black python. Surprisingly, Su-hong is awarded points for indirectly killing his opponents. Su-hong is shocked that he can also earn points this way, and this reminds him that he now has enough points to break through to become a martial practitioner. He decides to find a safe place for himself, and he soon notices a cave in the distance. Without hesitation, he dashes toward the cave and disappears into the cave before the snake gets to him. However, the snake is about to give up as it keeps trying to force its way into the cave. Seeing how desperate the snake is, Su-hong quickly pulls out the status window and he starts to add points to his vital blood as fast as he can. Doing this causes him intense pain that he feels like lava is flowing through his body. After adding all the points and enduring the pain, Su-hong finally becomes a true martial practitioner with a red aura swirling around his body. Seeing the difference in Su-hong's aura, the python starts backing away from the cave. However, Su-hong goes after it, landing a punch to the snake's head that sends it into the air. The snake bleeds out profusely, but Su-hong is not yet done with it. Su-hong leaps toward the snake and delivers a powerful punch to its body before pushing its spear into its body. By exerting great force into the spear, Su-hong is able to pin the snake to the ground. This gives Su-hong the chance to cook up the Thunder Rush Fist, which he delivers to the snake's head without mercy. The overwhelming strength of Su-hong's punch is enough to crush the snake's head, which grants him 92 Dao points. Su-hong is extremely proud of himself because he was able to withstand the snake's attacks. When it is time to cut a proof for the snake's kill, he is left confused on what to do, since snakes have no ears. Nonetheless, he figures out that returning to the base is the most important thing. As he is about to leave, he finds Ye's crushed body on the ground. Su-hong lets him know that he should be thankful that he died the way he did because he obviously had other plans for him. Su-hong then decides to search him, hoping to find the high-grade technique that he was using. Fortunately for him, he found the book on the void-breaking finger. That night, Su-hong locks himself in the cave to memorize and master the new technique that he has just found. Once he is ready, he pulls out his clone and the two engage in a fierce battle in which he is trying to master the void-breaking finger. After so much stress, he finally breaks through to the beginner level of the technique. By the time he returns to reality, he realizes that he is already bleeding in the nose, which shows just how powerful the technique is. Su-hong decides to find a monster to test out the power on. 3 days later, Su-hong is still busy hunting down monsters with the new technique. He confidently fires off an energy blast into a brown bear, charging toward him, and this easily destroys the bear. Confident that he has mastered the skill, Su-hong concludes that it is time for him to head back to the base. He makes his way to the counter where everyone is documenting their kills. He drops his bag, and the attendant checks it out. She starts calling out the monsters that were defeated by Su-hong, shocking the other practitioners standing around. It turns out that Su-hong was able to take down monsters worth 406,000 points. This is when it dawns on Su-hong that he overdid it because he was looking to just hunt a few in the first place. Suddenly, a side of the wall in the base is destroyed. The practitioners are surprised to see that they are getting attacked when there are literally a bunch of them lying around. Just then, the person who destroyed the wall shows himself, and it turns out to be Ye's uncle, who is the base manager. The practitioners are surprised to see that old Ye is pissed, and the officials ask him what the issue is. The old man then reveals that his nephew and all of his gang have been killed. The crowd is shocked to hear this, but deep down, they are not concerned because Ye was a douchebag when he was alive, so most didn't really care. Old Ye then mentions that a B-rank technique was taken from Ye's body, and he wants everyone on the base to be searched before they are permitted to leave. Su-hong maintains a straight face while thinking about everything that happened in the woods. He is confident that the corpses can't be traced back to him, since the python was the monster that killed Ye and his team. Su-hong is thinking about this when old Ye suddenly locks eyes with him, shocking him. Old Ye then turns to Su-hong and tells him that he is aware of his latest feat of taking down beasts as if they are nothing, which gained him over 400,000 points. One of old Ye's assistants tells him that she checked Su-hong's stats and it was barely fit to be a Tier 1 early stage, so there is no way he killed that many beasts. The lady believes that Su-hong only picked up Ye's backpack, and she suggests that they search Su-hong. 2 bodyguards walk towards Su-hong with an intimidating aura while telling Su-hong to cooperate. Just as they are about to reach him, Su-hong points his spear at them before they can even realize. They ask him what he is trying to pull off, and Su-hong reveals that he is a student from Star City No. 1 High. He asks them if they are really willing to search him. The moment old Ye hears this, he remembers that the principal of the school is known for how he fiercely protects his students. He knows fully well that the principal is no joke, so it won't make sense to cross him. However, he believes that Su-hong is quite suspicious. Old Ye secretly admits that Su-hong might be a genius if he were the one who hunted down all the beasts, which means wrongly accusing him might cause problems for them. Old Ye then moves over to Su-hong, telling him how Ye and his team were ambushed. He adds that a technique was stolen from them and they would need to search him. Su-hong then decides to add a clause to the whole thing. He tells old Ye that he would like them to pay him 30,000 yuan just in case they don't find anything on him. Su-hong is confident that none of what happened can be traced back to him. Old Ye agrees to the deal and he tells his men to thoroughly search Su-hong. After they are done searching him, they find nothing, and Ye tells them to give Su-hong the 30,000 yuan that he owes. Su-hong is glad that everything is going pretty well, and it is thanks to the fact that he burned the book before he even left the forest. After he has been searched, Suhong prepares to leave, and he has his next plans mapped out already. Suhong then heads to the inn of the martial practitioner base. Once he's settled in, he decides to use his points. He is shocked to see that he has that large a number of points in stock. However, he is left confused about what to choose. He realizes that the mortal body and spirit haven't received any upgrades since the start. Since he is curious, he decides to try it out, and he dumps his points into the spirit and mortal body. After filling the mortal body with enough points, he decides to push the rest into the spirit. This is enough to cause severe changes in his body that Suhong can even feel. The spirit skill is about to transform him into a muscular man, but Suhong is able to dial it down. He is thankful that he got it under control because there is no way he would have been able to explain it to anyone. 1 hour after this, Suhong heads to the Star City Martial Practitioner Association. He meets with the attendant at the reception, telling her that he is there for the Martial Practitioner Assessment. The lady attends to him calmly, telling him that a staff member will soon show him the way. Just as said, a staff member shows up to lead him to the section where he is going to take the test. As he walked past the other practitioners, they were all surprised that a kid like him was coming to take the test. The staff informs Suhong that a Tier 1 martial practitioner needs 100 vital blood and over 1,000 combat power to pass the exam. The practitioners who see him believe that he is just there to give the whole thing a trial. Upon arriving at the testing center, Suhong watches as some fellas fail the test. However, one candidate, Li Ming, passes right in front of him with a combat power of 1,000 points. It turns out that he is Jiang Ming's student, and Ming is Leon's instructor too. Ming is surprised to learn about this, wondering just how many disciples he has. The dude then arrogantly tells Suhong that he is up for his test. Li Ming believes that Suhong is going to embarrass himself because he believes he has a chance. Suddenly, his arrogant behavior is watered down when he learns that Suhong passed the vital blood test with 123 points. However, he tries to calm himself with the fact that Suhong hasn't taken the combat power test yet, and this is the main deal. Suhong is led to the power testing machine, and he remembers how he broke the machine at school. He realizes that he has gotten stronger, so he is going to use 4/10 of his power. Suddenly, it dawns on him that this might backfire because if he goes too light and fails to get the required number, it would be bad. He then decides to go with 5/10 of his power to avoid errors. Suhong punches the field tester so hard that it gets disconnected from where it was bolted to. The tester is sent crashing into the wall, shocking those who witnessed the test. Li Ming, who was arrogant some minutes ago, couldn't even comprehend what just happened in front of him. The tester's capacity is 3,000 combat power, but Suhong basically went past that, and the other practitioners conclude that Suhong is a freaking monster. Meanwhile, the president of the Star City Martial Association, Wu Lingxian, is seen in her office complaining about the lack of geniuses. She is worried that her position as president would be threatened if she can't provide one very soon. Suddenly, one of the officials came rushing into the room, telling her that a monster had just appeared at the Martial Practitioner Assessment. Wu's head immediately goes into overdrive when she hears, because it is just what she wanted. Later on, Suhong is in the hall taking instructions from one of the staff. He tells him that he is going to get a practitioner identity, while also receiving an allowance. Suddenly, Wu shows up at the top of the stairs, telling her subordinate to hand Suhong over to her. The dude is shocked that the president shows up just because of Suhong. Wu introduces herself and tells Suhong to follow her. Suhong acknowledges the order, but he is impressed at how young the lady is, and she is already a force to be reckoned with. Upon arriving at the president's office, Wu talks about how Li told her that he had no geniuses in his school, but it turns out to be a lie. Suhong then asks the lady why she brought him to her office because he only came to register as a martial art practitioner so he can collect his allowance while getting a guiding technique. Wu urges Suhong to relax because she has already told the staff to handle the martial practitioner certificate and his monthly allowance. And for the guiding technique, she tells Suhong that she is going to teach him personally. She asks him how much he knows about guiding techniques, and Suhong explains what he learned in the books. Wu lets him know that what the textbook said is not entirely wrong, but she reveals that the guiding techniques are far more than just cultivation methods. She uses her heavenly flame guiding technique as an example, saying it absorbs fire attribute spiritual energy. Although it strengthens the body, it also imbues her attacks with flame attribute destructive power. She tells him that if he can externalize the said attribute, he can extend his attack range. However, for a Tier 1 martial practitioner like him, she tells him that carrying a trace of it is already impressive, so he doesn't have to break his back wrapping his fist in the attribute as she just demonstrated. Suhong is shocked when he realizes that guiding techniques can be used for attack because he had only thought they were for absorbing spiritual energy to cultivate. He is surprised that the textbook he read never mentioned something like this. Wu continues by saying there are 7 spiritual energies of heaven and earth. There is metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, and wind. She says they all have their strengths and weaknesses. But when it comes to raw attack power, thunder ranks first, metal comes in second, and fire is third. She then tells him that the guiding technique that he is able to cultivate depends on his affinity. Suhong gets the hang of it a little and realizes that one can actually choose whichever guiding technique they want to practice. Wu places a big ball on the table, telling him that it is a crystal ball, which is used for testing affinity. She mentions that the larger the glowing area, the higher the affinity. Apparently, ordinary martial practitioners usually get nothing above 30%. However, Wu has about 80%, which is considered to be really high, although she believes that a genius like Suhong will be able to exceed 90%. Suhong takes the ball, and he knows that it would be something out of the ordinary if he gets 90% compared to the talented Wu. Just then, the ball starts to glow, and to Wu's surprise, it is entirely full, which shows that Suhong has 100% affinity for the fire attribute. Wu grabs him, asking him if he knows what this means, and Suhong says no. She tells him that this means he can absorb fire attribute spiritual energy from heaven and earth with 100% efficiency, with no leakage whatsoever. Wu reveals that with her 80% affinity, it means she is losing 20% when absorbing fire spiritual energy. Even with this, she is already a Tier 5 martial practitioner, which also gave her the chance to become the president of the Star City branch. However, she lets him know that his achievements will definitely surpass his own. Wu confesses that she never expected a rural place like Star City to produce such a genius as Suhong. While Wu is celebrating this, Suhong is busy thinking about getting the thunder attribute because he prefers this. He then tries it out, and the ball glows completely to the max point, just like the fire attribute. Wu sees this and stands there speechless like a statue, refusing to believe what is happening in front of her. Wu is basically suffering a brain freeze because Suhong has 100% affinity for two attributes. Wu hasn't finished recovering from this when Suhong tells her that the wind attribute is also 100%. Minutes later, Wu finds it hard to move from where she is because she is totally overwhelmed by what she just witnessed. Basically, Suhong has an affinity for all of the attributes, and to make it worse, they are all 100%. She has always thought of herself as a strong martial artist, but now that she is standing before an anomaly, she realizes that she is just an ordinary fellow. A flashback scene shows Wu taking on a giant monster that was ravaging the city, and it then dawns on her that to defeat such an overwhelming existence, someone with an equally scary power is needed. Wu is completely lost in thought before Suhong mentions that it would be a waste for him to cultivate only the thunder attribute while leaving the others. Suhong then asks Wu to give him some advice concerning the guiding techniques. Wu then tells him that one has a limited energy, so it is better that he focuses on one or two at most. Apparently, there was someone in the past who tried to cultivate all 7 guiding techniques at once, but after decades, the fellow was still stuck at a Tier 1 martial practitioner. Suhong then tells the president that he can't make up his mind at that moment, which is why he wants to try all of them first, so he can know which one to focus on. Wu agrees to this, but urges him not to mess around and eventually waste his talent. Just then, Wu mentions the school exam that is coming up. Suhong asks her why she is talking about the school exam, and she explains that recently, the friction on the myriad races battlefield has been intensifying. She mentions that war between the myriad races and humanity could break out at any moment. Thanks to this, every nation is pouring massive resources into forming genius training camps, and she has one that she wants to recommend for him. However, he has to take first place in his school's monthly exam so she can secure a recommendation slot. Suhong is overwhelmed by the information, and he remembers that a myriad race war was what took his parents' lives. Remembering this, Suhong assures the president that he is going to try his best because he is not about to allow the tragedy of the past to repeat itself, so he has to become stronger to protect everyone around him. Later that night, Suhong arrives home to tell his parents about the development of things. The two are glad to learn that their ward has finally become capable. Suhong explains to them that as a Tier 1 martial practitioner, he's going to get a 10,000 yuan allowance every month. He then tells his uncle that he doesn't have to work himself to death anymore. His uncle is happy to hear this, and he concludes that Suhong is the pillar of the family, so whatever Suhong says, he is going to listen to him. That night, Suhong heads to the roof as usual to try out the fire attribute. He is able to shoot out smoke, which counts as a beginner in the guiding technique. Just then, a guiding technique section appeared on the status window, and this confirms Suhong's suspicion that he has already learned it. Just then, he notices that there are levels to the technique. This comes as a surprise because Wu never mentioned anything of the sort. However, it soon dawns on him that the guiding techniques can only be leveled up by him, and this creates a level of excitement in him. However, he doesn't know how the level up happens. He wonders if they can be leveled up using martial Dao points too. Since he doesn't know how this works, he decides to cultivate the rest of the guiding techniques first. Su-hong then sits down to focus on the guiding techniques, but several hours later he hasn't made progress because the 7 different attributes repel each other. He then remembers the genius Wu mentioned, who was stuck in Tier 1 even after decades. Even though all 7 attributes are present inside him, he can only mobilize one attribute at a time. Anytime he tries to force a second attribute into it, it clashes violently and then disappears. Since Su-hong knows that thunder and fire are similar, he decides that he is going to try to cultivate them together. Hours later, Su-hong wasn't able to carry out his desired result. This continues till the next day, but Su-hong is able to tame both thunder and fire at the same time. Su-hong creates a fireball with lightning in his hand, and he is proud of himself because after trying the whole night, it finally worked out. He decides that it is time to test out the new power. The following day, he heads down to the test field, where he is to test his power on the Tier 3 combat power tester. Since he used 5/10 of his power the last time, he decides to use 3/10 this time. Su-hong punches the tester hard, and surprisingly, the mark was above 2,000. Su-hong finally understands how strong he has become. He then decides to combine the power of fire and thunder to see what will happen. He punched the machine again, and this time it broke. Su-hong realizes that his power is quite terrifying because he has gotten an extraordinary power from fusing 2 abilities. Su-hong is already thinking of what would happen if he got his hands on the 7 attributes. Su-hong then returns home to try to fuse 3 attributes together, but it fails because it is even harder. He has tried all the combinations that he can, but there is no progress whatsoever. He wonders if raising the guiding technique level would help him fuse the techniques successfully. Since the monthly exam is the next day, Su-hong figures out that it would be best if he earns enough martial points before the next day. The next day at the school, Lee addresses the students, telling them that with the front lines growing really tense, there will be an annual training camp every year to select and intensively train geniuses. He mentions that the training camps offer abundant resources like pills and even grandmasters who will serve as their instructors. He then reveals that it is the top 3 students in the monthly exam who will qualify to join the Star City training camp. The students are hyped when they hear this, but Su-hong on the other hand is more concerned about the Tier 7 grandmaster. Just then, Su-hong's friend tells him that Li Tu and Chen Shan are both martial practitioners now. Su-hong can't believe that he was away for 10 days, but the two have broken through to martial practitioner. Su-hong reveals that the principal had the instructor, Chen, come in to give the 2 additional lessons for the past couple of days. Su-hong's friend tells him the impressive things Tu and Chen have done. Thanks to this, the 2 can now compete to see who is the best. Meanwhile, the principal and Chen are still trying to find the student from before, but since they can't, they have started assuming that he is not from their school. Just then, Jiang Ming shows up at the school with Lian and Li Ming. He teases the principal, telling him that the quality of students that year doesn't look too good. The old man asks Jiang what he wants, and he reveals that he brought his 2 disciples to spar with the students so that they can be taught the proper way of things. The principal quickly figures out that Jiang is trying to humiliate him. However, if he refuses the offer, it would mean that he is admitting that his entire school has no real talent. The principal is thinking of what to do when Lian notices Su-hong among the students in the distance. Lian quickly calls Jiang's attention to this by whispering in his ear. Jiang also turns in Su-hong's direction, and the moment he confirms that he is the one, he freaks out because he never expected him to be from the number 1 high. Jiang immediately figures out that it would be better if he withdraws because none of his disciples would be able to take on Su-hong. Jiang teases the principal, telling him that he was only joking while telling him that his dumb disciples can't compare to the quality students that he has in the school. Chen and Li almost explode from anger when they hear this because they believe that Su-hong is mocking them sarcastically, but little do they know that Su-hong has seen something that is beyond his power. Soon afterward, the exam begins and Su-hong is facing a dude named Peng. Everyone believes that Su-hong is doomed because his first opponent is a quasi-martial practitioner. Su-hong's opponent even teases him, asking him if he is prepared to step down, but before he even finishes his statement, Su-hong smacks him to the ground as if he is nothing. The crowd is left in shock when they see this because Su-hong basically one-shotted a quasi-martial practitioner. They believe that it is a fluke until Su-hong continues defeating all of his opponents pretty easily. Before they know it, he has reached the finals, leaving the adults wondering where he came from in the first place. Li blames himself for not noticing such an incredible talent all this time. The instructor then mentions that he must have seen Su-hong somewhere before because he looks really familiar. Meanwhile, Chen Shan and Li Tu are still fighting each other to know who is going to get to the finals. Because of how equal they are in strength, it is hard to say it is a particular person who will win. While they are busy fighting, they are still taunting each other about who is the strongest and who is the second strongest in the school. Just then, Chen externalizes his attribute to wrap fire around his fists, shocking those who are watching. They are blown away because fire is only second to thunder when it comes to destructive power. Tu then shocks everyone by externalizing his own attribute, which is metal, and it is more powerful than fire when it comes to destructive capabilities. Tu goes after Chen, delivering fast-paced attacks that shock everyone. Chen feels the heat of the attack, and the teachers realize that Tu has been hiding his true depth from the beginning, which is why he is able to defeat Chen. The instructor commends Tu, saying he was able to master the attribute externalization in just 10 days while also making it to minute subtlety. The old man then concludes that there is no need to watch the finals because with minute subtlety, Su-hong has no chance against Tu. The instructor agrees with him, saying Su-hong might have had a chance if he had a guiding technique. Just then, one of the instructors bets 50,000 on Su-hong, and the old man quickly takes him up on his bet. Soon afterward, Su-hong and Tu meet in the finals. Tu teases Su-hong, telling him that he was lucky to have reached the finals because he didn't meet him or Chen on the way. However, he lets him know that his run of luck has come to an end. Su-hong keeps mute because he is happy that he is finally getting a good human to beat up after fighting beasts for so long. Tu tells Su-hong that he should be proud because he can call himself second best in the school since he made it to the finals. Su-hong taunts him, asking him who is first, and Tu lunges toward him, saying it is obviously him. Tu unleashes a 5-resonance thunder rush fist that shocks the spectators. Instead of dodging the incoming attack, Su-hong decides to stand around to test out his physical prowess. The students shout at the referee, telling him to save Su-hong because he is about to be obliterated. Su-hong then jumps at Tu, and the two start exchanging punches. Tu is shocked when he realizes that Su-hong is able to stand against him with a skill of his own. Su-hong maintains the intensity, and Tu realizes that Su-hong is no child's play because every punch from him feels really heavy. The spectators are left in awe because Su-hong isn't using any martial technique, but he is able to match Tu blow for blow. This tells the crowd that Su-hong's strength is no child's play. The instructor believes that Su-hong has a unique physique because there is no way his power is that exaggerated. Lee is excited that his trash school is able to provide a genius at last. As the battle continues, Tu tells Su-hong not to believe that he has a chance because he will come out as the winner in the end. Seeing how desperate Tu is to win, Su-hong realizes that his physical strength is not enough to win against him, so he might just go all out against him too. Su-hong then tells Tu that he is going to get serious with him since he showed him his full power too. Su-hong then externalizes his thunder attribute as he dashes toward Tu. Fear grips Tu when he sees this because he wasn't expecting Su-hong to have a trump card. Even the spectators are left wondering what might be going on. The teacher screams out like a frog when he sees how Su-hong is handling the thunder technique. Moments later, Tu realizes that he is getting overwhelmed by Su-hong's technique because his thunder attribute is stronger than his metal attribute. Su-hong lets Tu know that he is going to get serious with him by showing him his trump card. He unleashes 9 resonances on Tu, ultimately trashing him. The students are initially stunned by what happened, but when they finally digest how Su-hong won, the crowd goes wild. Seeing how he just used 9 resonances, Lee and the instructor also figure out that Su-hong was the student who vanished from their sight that day. The principal tells the instructor that they are not witnessing just a genius, but the dragon star of the school. The instructor chuckles nervously, saying the privileged geniuses at the training camp are about to be hit with a brutal shock. He compares Su-hong to a dragon that is meant to soar, not to sink in a pond. The principal agrees with him, saying Su-hong is meant to shine on the international level, not a rural place like Star City. That night, Su-hong returns home with a smile on his face, and when his guardians ask him who took first in the school, he proudly reveals that he is the one. His uncle asks him if this means that he is going to the training camp, and he says yes. Just then, they hear a knock on the door, and when they go to the door to investigate, they meet an arrogant woman who reveals that she is Lin Nian's mother at Su-hong's school. Since the school usually sends the top 3 to the training camp, and her son took 4th, she tells Su-hong that she is interested in paying him to give up his spot for her son. She pulls out 30,000 yuan like it's some kind of big money and tells Su-hong and his guardians that this is what she is ready to pay. She expects them to jump at the money, but the cold expression on their faces shocks her, and she screams at them, telling them the competition is a brutal one where people can die. She continues by saying those who participate in the training camp are known to consume high-grade pills like candy while using high-tier techniques as if it is nothing. Su-hong's mother hears this and she fears, forcing her to ask Su-hong if it is really dangerous, just as the woman said. However, the uncle urges his wife to chill out. He then asks Su-hong if he can promise that he is going to be safe, and Su-hong assures him that he will. The woman is surprised that the man believes the child's guarantee, and the man lets her know that it is his own decision, so he has to trust him. He adds that there is no reason for him to call Su-hong his family if he doesn't trust him. Without further argument, they slam the door in her face, leaving her embarrassed. She walks away in anger while telling the family that Su-hong is going to get eliminated. After she is gone, Su-hong apologizes to his uncle, telling him that he never meant to hide the danger from him, and his uncle assures him that it is fine. He mentions that he is a rough man, but he is more educated and he understands the training camp better. Suhong's uncle tells him that since he has made up his mind to face the difficulties, he is ready to support him. Suhong's aunt smacks her husband before telling Suhong that all they care about is that he returns safely. Later that night, Suhong heads to the roof to think about his future journey. He knows that his guardians are only worried about him, which is why he can't even let them down. He concludes that he has to get stronger to protect his hard-earned peaceful life. Suhong then checks out the status window, and he realizes that he has 285 Dao points currently, but this is not enough for what he wants. Since he doesn't know what kind of monsters he is going to face at the training camp, he decides to prioritize his physical combat power. Suhong adds points to his mortal body, and after a painful ordeal, he realizes that he is still 35% away from 100%. Suddenly, he notices that Thunder and Heavenly Flame techniques have already reached level 2. Suhong remembers practicing guiding techniques for just a few days, and nothing more. He wonders if extra conditions are needed, or if it is the normal cultivation of guiding techniques that allows the attributes to level up. Since this is the case, Suhong decides that he is going to raise the bar to another level. The next day at dawn, Suhong had managed to reach level 3 on both attributes. In fact, his Vital Blood technique also increased by 3 points. When Suhong finally prepares to leave, his aunt urges him to stay safe, and even rush home if things get too dangerous. However, the uncle believes that Suhong has what it takes to be successful, and he tells Suhong to go to the training camp to be the first among all. After he is gone, Suhong's uncle finally shows just how worried he is, but was trying to act all tough. Moments later, Wu pulls up beside Suhong, telling him to get into the car. Suhong obliges and places his spear in the back of the beautiful red convertible car. Wu cuts through the highway at incredible speed, and Suhong asks her why she wants to see him. Wu then tells him that there are certain things that she has to warn him about concerning the training camp. Wu mentions that as president of the association, there is some participants' information that she has access to. She reveals that there are martial practitioners who are already on the verge of Tier 2 among the participants. She mentions that there are several monsters in the training camp, and the weakest techniques that they master are B-rank techniques. When Suhong hears this, he gets even more excited instead of scared because he can learn B-rank techniques quickly. Wu admits that Suhong is the strongest she's seen when it comes to talent, but she lets him know that he doesn't have the same level of resources as those he is going to meet in the training camp. She urges him to suppress the challenges and setbacks he faces in the training camp because he is talented enough to do this. Suhong thanks Wu for the advice, and Wu is basically impressed that Suhong is staying so calm, even though he knows that he is going to a dangerous place. Later on, the 3 participants from Star City High are seen traveling in a vehicle alongside the principal, and they are heading to the Tianlin mountain range. Chen expresses his concern about the training camp being located in the mountain range, but the principal urges him not to worry, saying a grandmaster is overseeing the camp so no beast will touch them. Apparently, the mountain range is connected to other cities, and there are monsters that are as strong as rank 7 grandmasters residing there. Basically, the beasts are always going at each other, and they are far more ferocious than beasts found elsewhere. Even a rank 2 martial artist would not want to carelessly set foot into the mountain range. As they drive through the road leading to the camp, the students can feel strange presences watching them, and they are not wrong because monsters are everywhere. Even though the competition is going to be tough, Suhong finds himself liking the whole idea of it. Upon arriving at the meeting point, they realize that several other students are already present. The students stare at them like vampires, and when Suhong realizes that his colleagues are about to be intimidated, he takes the lead and tells them to follow him. They confidently walk over to the temporary camp, and the official tells them that they have to wait there until everyone arrives. Even after everyone has arrived, there is still going to be an entrance examination that will be conducted. Suhong is surprised to hear this, but before he can ask more about the whole thing, the big boys and girls arrive at the camp. They arrive in luxurious vehicles with a convoy surrounding them. The redhead lady is Yao Yan, and she is a spirit reader. The dude in white is Lin Xinghe from the Lin family, and he likes to show off. The third dude is the city lord's son, Tan Tuo, and he has a 95% fire affinity. Suhong realizes that the trio is the pack of geniuses that Wu mentioned. Suhong is curious about them because he wants to see if they are truly geniuses or not. With everyone present, the official decides that it is time to lay out the rules of the training camp. He tells them that the training camp is located within the mountain range and it is 30 kilometers away from where they are. Apparently, they have to hold a token before they can get access into the camp, and he reveals that these tokens have been embedded in certain beasts. Basically, they have 8 hours to hustle to the training camp, which is 30 kilometers away. Even though 8 hours seems more than enough for the distance, they have to consider the fact that they would face dangers on the way. Suhong, on the other hand, is not essentially worried because he believes that this provides the best chance for him to hunt down monsters as much as he wants, as long as he gets to the camp in 8 hours. One of the students asked the official what would happen if they ran into a beast that they can't handle. The official tells the dude to consider himself unlucky because he would be eliminated, but he lets them know that someone would come to save them. The students start to protest when they hear this because it is possible that the strong people would even get eliminated while the weak ones would pass by luck. The official berates them, telling them that life is unfair while making an analogy of someone who trained really hard, but death took him away at the last minute. He urges them to walk with caution if they don't want to encounter high-level beasts. However, he lets them know that only cowards move that way. One of the students agrees with him, telling his comrades who are scared to go die in a trash bin. One of them takes this up in anger and immediately tells the big mouth that he is going to beat him to a pulp. The official quickly informs them that fighting is not allowed within the camp, but once they get to the mountains, they are allowed to do whatever they want. He lets them know that they are free to steal tokens or just beat someone up because they don't like their face. When Su-hong hears this, he realizes just how brutal the training camp is because they are encouraged to fight each other. With this, it is pretty obvious that more than half of the participants would be eliminated before they even reach the camp. Suddenly, it dawns on Su-hong that he might actually get a ton of points if he decides to fight the dudes. The official shuts everyone up by telling them that it is time to move. He blows the whistle and everyone scatters into the woods. The two who had a beef with each other from before start to chase each other, and without wasting time, a fight ensues between them. The two exchange blows, but it appears that they are evenly matched. Meanwhile, Su-hong is watching them from above, and he is not entirely impressed because he was expecting the so-called geniuses to be more fierce and powerful. He decides to use his time to hunt a few beasts instead of wasting his time on the participants. He is about to leave when he hears the two trash-talking poor people. This immediately changes his mind and he decides to beat them up for points. He grabs a stick and walks up to the two to tell them to stop fighting. Su-hong suggests that they play with him instead, but the dude decides to insult him instead. The two tell him that they have no interest in playing with him but to beat him up. Su-hong then tells them that they are getting it wrong because what he meant was that he wants them to gang up on him and beat him up. The dude in a blue uniform angrily dashes towards Su-hong, but Su-hong hits him so hard in the tummy that he is sent flying into the distance. The moment the other dude sees this, he realizes that something is wrong because the dude is supposed to be evenly matched with him, but Su-hong just took him out in one single move. He's still thinking about this when Su-hong makes his move and dashes toward him. He hits him really hard in the head with the stick to totally knock him out. After beating them up to a pulp, Su-hong lets them know that it is their punishment for looking down on commoners like him. The guys in the control room are surprised when they see Su-hong pop out of nowhere to one-shot the two. They ask their boss if the two are already considered to be eliminated, but he tells them that they haven't requested rescue, which means they are still in the game. Moments later, the two wake up, raging from being humiliated by Su-hong. The two start making excuses like they would have won if they hadn't underestimated Su-hong. Since they now have a common enemy, the two end up being friends so that they can get their revenge on Su-hong. They grab the stick that he used to beat them up so that they can use it against him too. Meanwhile, Su-hong is busy cutting through monsters. He runs into a bunch of wild boars that move aggressively in packs, and the moment they sight him, they dash towards him. However, Su-hong easily cuts them down in one strike. After he is done wiping them out, he notices that he used to get dozens of martial Dao points for defeating just one martial practitioner, but ever since he leveled up and got stronger, the point rewards have been getting smaller and smaller. Su-hong then remembers that he needs to get some tokens. He cuts inside the boars that he just defeated, but finds no tokens. He is surprised that all of the beasts he defeated had no tokens at all, which made him realize that the tokens are hidden inside higher-level beasts. 30 minutes later, Su-hong realizes that he can't find low-level beasts, unlike when he first entered the forest. Just then, he runs into a rank 1 phantom night tiger. Without hesitation, Su-hong slams his spear into the beast, knocking it flat to the ground before finishing it off with a powerful piercing into the head. By killing the tiger, Su-hong earns 35 points, and he realizes that a rank 1 beast is basically too easy for him at this point. However, he can only hope that the tiger has a token hidden inside it. After rummaging through the beast's insides, Su-hong finally finds a token, which confirms that the tokens are hidden inside high-level beasts. Since it took him 3 hours to run into a high-level beast, Su-hong concludes that the deeper he goes into the mountain, the higher the beast's rank. At the same time, there are a few of them. Su-hong figures out that earning low-level monsters will give him more points because there are a lot of them to hunt. Su-hong basically switches to a quantity over quality situation, and since there are 5 hours left in the assessment, he decides to max out his mortal body progress. Su-hong takes his hunting seriously as he ravages the forest, rooting out monsters like weeds. He fights a bulk load of monsters before finally running into a bear, which is a high-level beast, but he also defeats this monster relatively easily. He punches the bear into a tree before going after it like a maniac. All the beast sees is a scary man charging at him with an unforgivable punch. The punch is so powerful that it takes the life of the bear and even destroys the tree behind it. Suhong is pleased with his progress so far because after raising his mortal body to 60%, he can now kill a rank 1 mid-stage beast, relying solely on his physical strength. He notices that he has earned 254 martial Dao points already, which means he can max out his mortal body progress with 100 more points. Realizing that he has 3 hours left, Suhong decides to gather as many points as he can. Suddenly, he hears a strange noise in the distance, and this catches his attention. Suddenly, a giant golden beast appears right above him, leaving him to wonder what sort of beast it is. He has a faint idea of what beast it might be, and it is the legendary Golden Rock Beast King. He is staring the beast in the face when it unleashes its aura. Suhong is forced to hold onto his sword while his legs tremble just to make sure he doesn't get flung away by the shockwave coming from the beast flapping his aura. Suhong is forced to leap behind a rock just to escape the beast's terrifying aura. This immediately tells Suhong that he is still really weak because in recent times he's been cocky about his strength. However, this has given him a reality check because in front of the real deal, he is nothing but an ant. Suddenly, he notices a ball of light in the distance, and this light appears to be human. This human is a rank 7 Grandmaster, and his name is Qin Tianli. Qin tells the beast that he would like to borrow his territory in the meantime so he can leave. The beast replies, telling Qin that he never said he could use his territory in the first place. Since he is acting all tough, Qin tells the beast that he is just going to have to beat him into submission. Qin dashes toward the beast and punches him so hard that he screams out in pain, but the Grandmaster tells him to shut his mouth because he is not yet done with him. Qin delivers several painful blows to the beast's body to show him who is the boss. After he has beaten the beast to his satisfaction, Qin tells the bird to make himself scarce because he would not like to repeat his words. He tells the Beast King to vanish that instant because he is now taking over his land. The Beast King ends up running off while threatening a rematch, but Qin tells the beast to stop yapping. Qin then uses his overwhelming aura to communicate to the applicants, introducing himself while also revealing that he is in charge of the assessment. He assures them that they have nothing to worry about because he is going to protect them. Seeing just how powerful Qin is, Suhong immediately raises his standard. Moments later, Qin returns to the camp, where the rest of the instructors are waiting to welcome him. They commend the Grandmaster for being so powerful that he beats up the Golden Rock Beast King, which is known for its formidable physical strength, into submission. Qin tells the group to stop flattering him and just come with him to the control room to see those who withstood the beast's aura. Upon entering the control room, they watch a playback of what happened when the beast unleashed its aura. Qin realizes that Tantuo was able to withstand the aura by maintaining his ground. Qin asks for his details, and one of the instructors reads out Tantuo's file. Qin is surprised to learn that Tantuo is the son of the city's lord, who is always birthing trash. Qin cannot believe that the dude finally got to give birth to a talented kid in the long run. Singi, on the other hand, used his impressive footwork to escape the beast's aura, and according to reports, he has 96% affinity for the wind attribute. And for Zhao, who is a telekinetic user, she is able to withstand the beast's aura with her mental powers. After watching the trio, Qin realizes that they have incredible talents, but he wants to know if there is anyone else who has withstood the beast's aura. His assistant starts calling out names of those who actually managed to withstand the aura. After a long, boring list, the assistant tells Qin that the people she just mentioned all have Tier 1 strength, which is why they didn't lose consciousness against the beast's aura. Qin is not entirely impressed since they are all from major families. He wants to know if there is anyone from a normal background who managed to withstand the beast's aura. His assistant tells him that the students from the regular schools are only at early stage Tier 1. She is about to start taking a deep dive into Star City High when Qin stops her, telling her that he's heard enough because the school doesn't really live up to its name. Suddenly, the other instructor notices Suhong on the screen, taking out monsters. He had basically just endured the beast's aura, but he still had the energy to hunt beasts. The lady instructor decides to check him out, and she suddenly freezes in fear as she mentions that Suhong is a freaking monster from Star City High. The other guy believes his colleague is overreacting, and he grabs the report from her to see what she is overreacting about. Just to look at the report, the dude suffers a brain freeze. Qin wonders why the two who are Tier 5 martial artists are shaking at the sight of a report. Qin decides to check out the report, but he also panics the moment he sees what Suhong is capable of. In fact, he doesn't want to believe that Suhong is a freaking human at this point. Suhong basically has an affinity for all of the attributes, which makes him a different kind of monster entirely. In the report recommendation, everything Suhong is capable of is included, and it is also noted that he is currently cultivating all 7 attributes. Excitement grips Qin because he wasn't expecting a talent like this to emerge from a rural area. Qin screams out in excitement, saying they have just hit the jackpot of the millennium. Just then, he mentions something that is totally weird. He points out that Suhong's vitality is only 120 points, and for his talent, it is quite weird. The lady instructor then reminds Chin that Suhong is cultivating the 7 attributes together. The man freaks out, saying this is why Suhong is stuck, because even a god would be ruined by this. He wonders if Wu didn't explain how things work for him. Just then, an assistant shows up to tell them that the students have started to arrive. Chin rushes outside to inspect them, and just as expected, the 3 super geniuses are the first to get to the camp because they were able to get to the camp 6 hours after the exam started. Soon afterward, more applicants keep coming in, and with 30 minutes left, all the applicants have supposedly arrived at the camp except Suhong. The other applicants believe that whoever hasn't shown their face with just 30 minutes left on the clock doesn't deserve to be in the training camp. Deep down, Chin is wondering why Suhong hasn't shown his face just yet. Chin starts to get worried that the precious gem he just discovered is about to get lost again. Just when the clock is about to run down, Suhong shows up in the distance. He was totally locked in on farming points that he lost track of time, and thanks to this, he is covered in blood and beast's insides from head to toe. When the other applicants see him, they start making fun of him, believing that he had it tough, which is why he appeared filthy. The 2 simpletons who wanted revenge on him also made it, but they decided to wait until the training camp to get their revenge on him. As the clock hits the 8-hour mark, the official gathers the applicants to tell them that whoever hasn't shown up at that point has failed the exam. Since they are all present, he figures out that it is time to explain the rules of the training camp to them. He reveals that there are several major facilities in the training camp, which are the gravity training room, the footwork training room, the beast combat, and the martial arts pavilion. He reveals that in the martial arts pavilion, one can exchange for martial arts, footwork techniques, pills, and weapons up to A rank. When Suhong hears this, he concludes that coming to the training camp is actually the right choice. However, using any of these services requires them to spend their contribution points, which can only be earned one way. The only way to earn these contribution points is to pass the various training courses, and passing them with flying colors will earn extra rewards. Since it is already getting late, the official tells them that they are free to go and sleep, but they can also go train if they want. He tells the injured students to follow him to the dormitories, and Suhong heads to the dormitory. Suhong enters his room, and he is pleased to find out that it is a single room, which means he has his privacy with no one watching him as he cultivates. Suhong then gets on the bed as he prepares to max out his mortal body, since he now has enough martial points to do so. Suhong inputs all of the points into the slot, and this generates a lot of heat that almost turns him into lava, but in the end, he gets a successful evolution. Suhong feels so much power running through his body, but he manages to block it from going haywire. By the time he is done, Suhong can feel the intensity of the power and how good it feels. He checks the status window and realizes that he has been given a strength title, which is Overlord Body. This is believed to be the strongest physique in terms of strength, but since his spirit tier is currently 0%, he is confident that it means that the technique can still be upgraded. Suhong admits that the special physique is quite incredible, and he decides to test out just how much strength the Overlord skill has. Suhong grabs his spear to head out to training, but to his surprise, the spear snaps from a casual snap. Suhong sighs in pain because C-rank alloys are quite expensive, and he paid a big sum to get this. Suddenly, it dawns on him that he didn't actually buy it because he picked it up. He figures out that he would need to gather enough contribution points as soon as possible to exchange for an A-rank alloy spear. Suhong wonders just how many kilos he would be able to handle if he wears a weighted vest to earn contribution points. Meanwhile, at the warehouse, Tantuo is moving around with a 3-ton weighted vest, and he claims that it is even light. The other applicants are left in awe as Tantu shows how impressive he is. Basically, they have all the rights to be amazed because a normal Tier 1 martial artist can handle only a few hundred kilograms. Even Xiao and Xinghe admit that Tantuo's strength is something else. Even Qin and the others who are watching from the control room are impressed by his brute strength. The lady assistant then asks Qin when they are supposed to find Suhong to explain the dangers of cultivating the 7 attributes to him. Qin then replies that they can't be direct because geniuses are proud, and telling him directly will only backfire. Qin believes that the way forward is to use certain methods to make him realize that his path is wrong, so he can willingly give it up himself. Qing then turns to the other guy, asking him if the other martial artists who will carry out the night raid have been assembled. The dude replies that it is going to take a bit more time because it is a bit of a tussle to assign personnel to match the varying combat strengths of the students. He reminds Qin that they just finished an assessment, and if they face a night raid immediately, they would definitely lose their cool. However, Qin tells the dude to arrange a late Tier 1 martial artist for Suhong because he wants him to be completely crushed and defeated. Once Suhong has been beaten up, he plans to explain the disadvantages of simultaneously cultivating 7 techniques to him so he can obediently listen to him. The assistants are worried that this might cause Su-hong's Dao to shatter because his spirit is low, but Chin doesn't see it the way they do. He argues that he is doing to help Su-hong, and if his Dao heart shatters, it just means that he is trash. Later that night, Su-hong steps out of his room and he sees a bunch of applicants who are following Tantuo because he is entering the gravity room to train. Since everyone has gone to watch Tantuo, Su-hong has the warehouse to himself. Inside a carton is a scoring bracelet that every applicant is required to have. He picks one up and wears it before heading to where the weighted vests are located. He realizes that the heaviest vest in the room is rated 10 tons, leaving him shocked and completely blown away. He wonders what it is made of and who the hell would wear something like that. He tries to wear it, but realizes that it is too heavy for him. Even though he might be able to wear it, it is going to affect him drastically. Su-hong then proceeds to wear a 5-ton weighted vest, which seems very light on him. He runs around the room to test it out, and he realizes that it is the best for him. However, he is curious to know what Tantuo and the others chose, and unknown to him, he is far superior to them. He is convinced that they are stronger than him, and he decides to go and check out their training session because he hopes that he can pick up 1 or 2 experiences. Meanwhile, the other applicants are doting on Tantuo because he went into the gravity room with a 3-ton vest. He also set the gravity to 2x, which means he is currently playing around with 6 tons. Although he is struggling with it, it is still quite impressive to the applicants. When Su-hong learns about Tantuo's vest, he realizes that he basically has a misunderstanding about the toughness of the Overlord's body. Just then, Chen and Tu show up to ask Su-hong why he is not entering the gravity room. The two express their worries, saying they are just going to be embarrassed if they enter because those they are competing against are insanely strong. Since they are all scared, Su-hong decides to enter the room. The other applicants are surprised to see Su-hong stepping into the room, and they believe that he has a loose screw in the head. Some even assume that he is not wearing a weighted vest, and this is thanks to the jacket on him. Everyone keeps saying trash about him, but he just keeps mute and heads into the gravity room. Basically, gravity rooms require a lot of money to build, which is why it is only available to noble families. Since Su-hong can get his hands on one for free, he is not about to let it pass. Since he is wearing a 5-ton vest, setting the gravity to 2x will make it difficult for him because it would be 10 tons. Su-hong plans to last longer in the gravity room, and he decides to set it to 1.5. Even this still feels so heavy that Su-hong wants to lose his footing. He strains in pain while the other applicants make fun of him, saying he isn't wearing a vest but still set the gravity to 1.5 times. The applicants then remember that Su-hong was the last to arrive that day, so they assume that he is pretty weak. Instead of running around to show off, Su-hong decides to sit there and cultivate this technique under the crushing weight. 2 hours after this, he has been able to level up the other attributes except for thunder and fire. In addition, his vitality also increased from 126 to 130. Su-hong is impressed by this, and he realizes the other rooms would also have something nice for them because the gravity room just gave him some points. Su-hong then struggles to stand up, and when he finally stands up, the applicants who are still watching make fun of him for being so trashy. Just then, Su-hong takes off his jacket because he is dying of heat, and this is when the two mocking him know that he is wearing a weighted vest. However, they still think he is a loser because there is no tag on the vest, which makes them believe that it is not more than 500 kilograms at most. Some believe that he might actually be strong, but they are convinced that he is still not as strong as Tantuo. Not long after this, Tantuo steps out of the gravity room and the applicants flock over to him to worship him. Tantuo walks out, totally exhausted from the 2 hours he spent inside the gravity room. Tantuo then drops the weighted vest and he flexes his body muscles to the applicants watching. Singi then walks over to Tantuo, admitting that he is number 1 when it comes to pure strength, but urges him to come to the agility room where he can show him who the boss is. Tantuo admits that he has nothing to stand against Singi when it comes to agility, and this is thanks to his wind attribute. Su-hong hears them talk about A-rank movement techniques, and he decides to go check Singi out. Su-hong then joins the others to watch Singi display his A-rank movement technique, Flying Swan Cloud. In fact, they are more blown away that Singi set the difficulty to the max. The way he is moving with the technique leaves the applicants in awe. Singi is so fluid with the technique that petals even sprang out of nowhere. Su-hong, on the other hand, immediately registers the technique in his archive. Without wasting time, he starts to follow the movement, and when the applicants see this, they start to mock him, asking him what he thinks he is doing. They tease Su-hong, telling him that there is no way he can learn the flying swan technique just by looking at it. Su-hong ignores them and continues practicing his movement, and while he is doing this, his mastery level keeps increasing. In no time, the system informs him that he has learned the technique, so he has officially entered the beginner stage. Su-hong is glad that he finally learned an A-rank technique. However, he has to admit that the technique is too flashy, which makes it embarrassing to carry out. Since he has never seen the normal version before, he can only copy what Singi displayed. Su Hong then returns to reality, and since he has learned the technique, he figures out that there is no need for him to enter the agility room. Su Hong thinks of heading to the fierce beast room to hunt beasts so he can earn martial arts points to boost his vitality. Just then, Su Hong notices that the applicants are staring at him. He turns around to hear them talk about how super flashy his moves are, and this is when he realizes that he might have actually done the technique in the same flashy way as Singhe. Su Hong immediately dashes off because he realizes that Singhe can't be his mentor when it comes to movement techniques. As he leaves the scene, he notices that someone might be following him, and he turns out to be right because the two Vendetta twins are still looking to teach him a lesson. Since he is heading to the fierce beast room, they plan to block the door and beat the crap out of him when he comes out. At the same time, Xiao and Tantuo appear to be challenging each other on who can kill the most beasts. Su Hong arrives there to find the two arguing, and since he has never seen a telekinesis user fight before, he decides to take a look before going to hunt his own fierce beasts. Xiao steps into the room, and to Su Hong's shock, she starts to float in the air. Since it is only a method that grandmasters possess, Su Hong realizes that being able to do this is due to the fact that she is a psychokinetic. As if this is not enough, Su Hong opens his mouth in shock when he sees Xiao take down monsters with light beams. One beast tries to launch a surprise attack on Xiao from behind, but she easily grabs the beast with her powers. With the beast in place, she cuts it down mercilessly with her light beams. Su Hong finally understands that the light beams are freaking daggers. With everything Su Hong has seen Xiao do, he finally understands why psychokinetic users are damn strong. Xiao runs into a giant python, and Xiao conjures a large light sword which she uses to split the snake in half by hurling it at the snake. This further leaves a mark of shock on Su Hong because he doesn't remember the girl holding a weapon before. In addition, he knows that such a big weapon would weigh a lot, which means she is able to do this because psychokinetics are crazy humans. Singhe informs the other applicants that what they are witnessing is a martial art that is exclusive to psychokinetics, and it is as high as A rank. The other applicants are surprised to hear this because this is the first time they have heard of such. The applicants ask him how he knows all of these, while asking him if Tantuo has an A-rank skill too. Singhe confirms this, and the applicants freak out because they already consider him a maniac. Since the geniuses all have high training techniques, Su Hong realizes that the training camp is packed with good martial arts. He is just glad that he came to the right place. Just then, Su Hong checks on Tantuo, but to his surprise, he is not using any martial arts while beating down monsters. Su Hong quickly realizes that the dude is not even ready to unveil his trump card. Nonetheless, he is confident that he is going to find a way to learn from Tantuo later. He is eager to be a psychokinetic, but his spiritual power is low. Since one needs a spiritual power of over 100 points, he realizes that he is still 73 short. With the amount of points that he needs for what he wants, Su Hong decides within himself that he is going to challenge the entire area, which is going to cause him to go on a killing spree. Su Hong then proceeds into the room, and his two Vendetta stalkers decide to stay outside, waiting to teach him a lesson. However, their entire system goes haywire when they see the number of scary beasts that Su Hong wants to challenge himself with. The two assume that Su Hong has seriously lost his mind because challenging a dozen fierce beasts is asking for death. The two panic, and they start thinking of even getting an instructor to save Su Hong. However, to them, it is too late for Su Hong because they are convinced he is going to be torn to shreds by the monsters. Now in the beast's room, Su Hong teases the monsters, causing them to rush at him at the same time. Su Hong leaps backward to dodge the initial attack from the enemies before lunging toward them. He punches the monsters so hard that their insides are torn apart. The Vendetta twins are left speechless because Su Hong is tearing apart monsters that even mid-grade martial arts would find really hard to do. Just then, one of them notices that Su Hong is using a familiar footwork, and it then dawns on them that he has already copied Singhe's technique, which he is now using. The two stars are arguing because it is not possible for them. The two soon accept reality and realize that Su Hong is an insane talent to have been able to copy the technique at once. One of them immediately suggests that they forget about their Vendetta mission, and his colleague doesn't even object to this. Suddenly, the dude wants to rethink his decision, but his friend points to what Su Hong just did inside the training room. They stare into the distance to see that Su Hong has taken down all of the beasts in just a few minutes. Su Hong, on the other hand, is checking out the points that were given to him after defeating such high-level beasts. He realizes that it is not that much, which confirms his assumption that the stronger he is, the harder it is for him to accumulate points. Before he can even get a minute of rest, more monsters troop out from their hiding place, and Su Hong quickly gets back on his feet because he doesn't have the luxury of resting. One of the monsters thinks it is wise to launch a surprise attack on Su Hong from behind, but Su Hong reacts to this really quickly and punches the monster into the afterlife. Su Hong unleashes a terrifying aura that gives the beasts a rethink, but Su Hong is not about to give them second chances because he needs their Dao values. Su Hong goes after them, wiping out the beasts without mercy. On the outside, the Vendetta finally decides that it would be good for them to turn into the forgiving twins. The two figure out that it might be bad for them if Su-hong meets them there. The two quickly walk away, and they soon walk past the battle room where the other geniuses are using it. One of their colleagues is surprised that they are back already. He asks about their revenge mission, but the two can only answer nervously. Deep down, the two are happy that they still have their heads on their necks. Just then, Zhao and Tantuo stepped out of the beast room, and Tantuo acquired 280 points in total, while Zhao got 270 points. Their usual followers start to praise them while counting the number of monsters that they have killed. As for their weighted vest contributions, Tantuo has 100 points, while Xiao has just 50. This means a great deal to their followers, whose highest is 30 points. Just then, they start talking about how powerful the geniuses are because of the number of beasts that they have defeated. However, the forgiving twins are the only ones who know that there is a special monster in the training camp that surpasses the trio. 1 hour later, Su-hong has left a mountain of corpses in the room, and he is already getting exhausted. However, he hasn't even reached his target point. Nonetheless, he checks the training wristwatch and realizes that he was awarded 700 points. Without hesitation, Su-hong heads to the martial arts pavilion. Upon arriving at the pavilion, Su-hong makes his way to the receptionist. He takes a journal to the table to read the menu. He is surprised to see just how expensive the A-rank skills are. The attendant then asks him if he is ready to make his order. Deep down, the attendant is not interested in attending to Su-hong because she believes that he is going to be broke. When Su-hong finally makes the decision, he tells the lady that he wants the spirit-gathering pills. He asks the attendant if it is true that they help to boost the spirit. She confirms this, but lets Su-hong know that it only takes effect once. Su-hong quickly orders the Tier 4 spirit-gathering pill, and the attendant is shocked when he shows her his points. The attendant cannot believe her eyes, and just like a good girl that she is, she presents the pill to Su-hong. Su-hong thanks the lady and asks her if she has any alloy spears that he can buy. Su-hong ends up exhausting all of his points when he buys the bears. It turns out that the one Su-hong bought is the C-rank fire dual attribute spear. Su-hong then realizes that his stats have improved a bit, but he still needs Dao points for what he plans to do. Su-hong then opens the box given to him by the attendant to take out the pill sitting inside. He swallows the pill, and in no time he feels the changes in his body. With determination, he reveals that he is going to become a spirit master. With the pill's effect kicking into place, Su-hong can feel all the exhausted nerves in his body get soothed. In addition, his mind has become really clear, giving him the ability to sense everything going on around him. By the time the pill is done with its work, Su-hong is surprised to see that it actually boosted his spiritual power by 24 points. He calculates the martial points that he currently has and realizes that even if he uses all of them, he would still be 0.5% short of what he needs. To get the 0.5%, all he needs is 5 martial points, which is equivalent to 1 beast that is defeated. With this, Su-hong wishes that he had killed just 1 more beast. Nonetheless, he can't regret what is already gone, and he decides to rest so he can take care of it the next day. Meanwhile, at the training camp warehouse, the instructors who are going to be participating in the raid have been gathered. They are given leaflets to look at the applicants that are assigned to them. While others are getting assigned to the geniuses of the camp, one particular dude finds out that he is stuck with Su-hong, who has just 123 vitality points. Even his friends ask him why he was assigned someone who is as trashy as Su-hong. One believes that Chin made a mistake, but Chin enters the room at the right time to let them know that it was no mistake. The dude goes ahead to challenge Chin's decision, saying the dude is trash. However, Chin lets him know that Su-hong is not as simple as he seems because his combat power is on par with that of advanced stage martial artists. The group is shocked when they hear this because they don't expect someone who has just over 100 vitality points to be able to challenge a proper martial artist. Chin then tells the officer attached to Su-hong that he's going to understand what he is saying by the time he fights him. The dude still complains about the whole task, forcing him to slap him on the head. He tells him to go all out from the beginning because he doesn't want Su-hong to retain any doubt that he is strong. The dude still can't believe that he is expected to fight such a weak child. He even asks Chin if he has a beef with Su-hong, while telling him that he's not going to be held responsible if he cripples him. Chin smiles when he hears this, as he urges the dude to beat Su-hong to a pulp so he can get a reward. The dude agrees to this, and deep down, he can't wait to deal with Su-hong. Moments later, the raiders make their way to the dormitories to perform drills. Su-hong soon hears chaos in the distance, and while he is still thinking about this, the door is cut open by the man set upon him. He almost gets cut in half by the invader's sharp sword, but he vanishes before the strike happens. Su-hong quickly grabs his spear, and a fight ensues between the two, while Su-hong is wondering just how strong the instructor, Jin-feng, is. Jin-feng boasts about his strength, telling Su-hong to count himself unlucky for running into him, and this is when Su-hong realizes that the dude is from the myriad races. Su-hong smiles because this is exactly what he is looking for. Suhong figures out that he would be able to gather the last 5 martial arts points to become a telekinetic if he defeats Jinfeng. Jinfeng is shocked when he realizes that Suhong is actually taking up a fighting pose against him, leaving him to wonder if he has gone out of his mind totally. Their weapons clash, and this is when Jinfeng realizes that Suhong's strength is crazy. In fact, his combat strength is on par with an advanced stage 1, and Jinfeng confirms with this that his boss wasn't lying. Suddenly he notices that there is something else because a stage 1 martial artist shouldn't have the kind of power that Suhong currently has. On the other hand, Suhong is doing his best since he hasn't fought an advanced class before. He swings his spear with an aura around it, causing Jinfeng to leap back in fear. He starts to regret his actions because he has realized that Suhong is no joke. Nonetheless, Jinfeng is an experienced martial artist, and he knows what a fight between them entails. Jinfeng then unleashes his fire attribute martial arts, which envelopes his sword in purple fire. Suhong is actually blown away by this, since it is his first time seeing one. Jinfeng then lunges towards Suhong while taunting him, asking him how he plans to block his powerful attack called the Flaming Slash. Unknown to him, Suhong has his own idea, and he covers himself in lightning before blocking Jinfeng's attack, knocking him backwards. The wall behind Jinfeng is shattered from Suhong's block, leaving Jinfeng sweating like a goat. He can't believe that Suhong just blocked his fire martial art by externalizing lightning, and this is when he admits that Suhong is a terrifying, talented kid. However, he still teases him, telling him that it appears that he is bad when it comes to lightning attribute spearmanship because he wouldn't have been able to easily defeat him. Suhong admits that he actually doesn't, but he decides to do something crazier by mixing 2 attributes, which are lightning and fire. Jinfeng starts shitting his pants because he never thought an attribute fusion was possible, but Suhong is basically doing it with ease right in front of him. Jinfeng is left totally stunned because he has always believed that attribute fusion is nothing but a myth. He is still panicking when Suhong leaps toward him with a powerful attack, and Jinfeng tries to uphold his honor by launching a counterstrike. However, Suhong's power easily overwhelms him and knocks him through the wall, sending him crashing to the ground. Since he has just defeated Jinfeng, Suhong is given 7 points, and Suhong smiles because Jinfeng just gifted him the points he needs to advance to a telekinetic. Some seconds earlier, Qin and the lady martial artist are outside the dorm, waiting for a report. Qin believes that Suhong should be getting a beating of his life already, and after this he would be able to persuade him to stop pursuing multiple guiding techniques to focus on one. This is when Jinfeng is sent through the wall and he crashes right in front of the Grandmaster. He is knocked out totally, and his face is battered from excessive beating. The lady and the Grandmaster are left in complete shock because Suhong just defeated Jinfeng with ease. At the same time, the 3 geniuses defeated their opponents, sending them crashing through the wall just like Suhong did. The trio steps out of the broken wall, telling the Grandmaster that he should have sent stronger opponents because these ones are freaking weak. Tantuo then notices that there are 4 defeated instructors on the ground, and the person who defeated the 4th one even finished faster than them. Singhe assumes that Jinfeng is weak, which is why he lost to his opponent. However, the lady martial artist knows that Jinfeng is actually the strongest among these 4. Qin is not surprised by the 3 geniuses pulling off a win, but he knows that Suhong is an early-stage rank 1 martial artist, which means facing a tier 2 opponent should be tough, but he even finished faster than the 3 geniuses. He wonders how he could have done it, and suddenly, an official comes running over to tell Qin that something has just happened. Qin assumes that a student was killed, and he tells the dude that it is quite usual. However, the official tells Qin that it is about Suhong using attribute fusion when he was fighting Jinfeng. Qin initially counts this as nothing serious, but the moment it rings in his brain, he grabs the official, asking him if he is serious. The dude reveals that Suhong actually used thunder and fire to defeat Jinfeng. The dude mentions that it is something he saw on the screen, but he is free to ask Jinfeng if he thinks he is lying. Jinfeng manages to come back to life to tell Qin that Suhong really used attribute fusion. The Grandmaster freaks out again, as he reveals that the only genius in the world who was able to carry out attribute fusion actually spent 12 years on it, but Suhong has been practicing this just for a month. The Grandmaster starts feeling hyper about the whole thing, and he boasts about how Suhong is a celestial prodigy that descended to Earth in human form. The lady then asks Qin if attribute fusion is really powerful, as he is saying it. Qin then explains to her that the first person to do it was able to suppress 2 Tier 2 fighters while he was still in Tier 1. The lady then asks why it is not talked about enough, and Qin mentions that research shows that carrying out the technique is extremely difficult, and it also carries a risk of crippling one's cultivation. He tells them that it is basically useless because one would be stuck in Tier 1 for life. However, he is blown away by how Suhong was able to succeed in just 1 month, which shows just how crazy his level of comprehension is. In fact, he possesses all of the attributes, which means it would be overwhelming if he could combine all of them. He believes that Suhong has what it takes to suppress the emperors of the myriad races with a single strike. His assistants tell him to chill out because he is already over-exaggerating the whole thing, because fusing 2 is difficult as it is. Just then, Qin tells the two to pardon his initial excitement and says he can't allow Su Hong to cultivate all 7 because he would be stuck at a 3-attribute fusion, which would be bad. Just then, the dude mentions that Su Hong was able to overwhelm Jinfeng with his overwhelming strength, and the Grandmaster berates him for not mentioning something that important earlier on. The trio is left in shock because Su Hong has just over 100 vital blood points, but he was able to overwhelm Jinfeng, who has 500. Qin then tells them that Su Hong's physique might be something legendary, and he decides that a sparring match is going to be held the next day because he wants a full assessment of Su Hong's combat strength and vital blood. He tells the two to bring the geniuses, Tantuo and the rest, to fight Su Hong because he wants to see what would happen when a freak like Su Hong clashes with the top geniuses of the training camp. Back in his messed up dorm room, Su Hong ignores the noise outside to raise his stats. He uses all his acquired Dao points to raise his spirit stats in one go. After increasing his spirit stats, Su Hong concentrates his mental power on becoming a telekinetic. As his mind expands, Su Hong begins to experience a strange sensation, as if he has suddenly grown a 3rd arm. As his spirit value hits over 100, this unfamiliar sensation leaves him feeling weird. After the experience, Su Hong decides to test his new powers by slightly lifting his ruined bed, using telekinesis. Su Hong is excited when the experiment works on his first try, so he lifts multiple items in the room with the wave of his hand. Satisfied with the result, Su Hong looks forward to doing other cool things like walking on air and attacking with telekinesis just like Xiao. He also plans to find an opportunity to learn her A-rank telekinetic martial art and Tantuo's offensive A-rank martial art. The following day, one of the camp instructors, Linz, orders the students to assemble in 1 minute or lose contribution points for every second they're late. Afraid of losing their hard-earned points, the students swiftly scurry outside despite being covered in bruises from last night's raid. On their way out, they lament bitterly about not being allowed to rest after going through so much the previous day. Even though it's just day 1 of camp, most of them are already fed up with the insane training conditions. Our overpowered guy Su Hong seems to be the only one in top shape as he casually strolls out for the assembly. Once everyone is gathered, Linz commends them for being punctual. He praises them for still being in one piece, saying he didn't expect them to be able to move around after getting thrashed. One dude boasts that he could have defeated one of the martial artists during the night raid if he hadn't been ambushed. Apparently the dude's peaches were up for grabs and the martial artist kept targeting his sausage, making it impossible for him to fight back. He had to choose between showing off and saving his future generations, so he chose the latter. However, despite his excuse, Linz insists that his reasons are trash. He reminds the guy that he would have been toast if it were an assassin from the myriad races instead of a friendly night raid. Hearing this, the guy quickly realizes that the instructor is right. His friend begins teasing him, branding him the nickname Boxer Bro Su Hong, who had been quietly listening to the conversation, also agrees with the instructor because reality doesn't care if one is ready or not. However, he agrees that it is reasonable for the students to be a bit cranky after the exhausting day they had on their first day in camp. The instructor then announces that he is giving them a chance to vent their grievances and show off their strength. He explains that they will be having a comprehensive test to measure everyone's vital blood, combat power, spirit, strength, speed, and mastery of martial arts. After the test, the students will engage in duels for their combat ranking. He also adds that the top 10 on the ranking will receive different amounts of contribution points every day. After the announcement, everyone turns their gaze to the powerful trio, Tantuo, Singe, and Zhao. They speculate that the trio must have the top 3 positions in the bag, therefore they decide to fight tooth and nail for the 4th to 10th place, since they can also get rewards. Su Hong, on the other hand, only looks forward to snagging first place because of the reward. He can't help but wonder what reward he can get for the first place. As the students chatter about the upcoming test, the instructor orders them to shut it and immediately follow him to take the test. A few moments later, they arrive at a warehouse arranged as their temporary testing ground with a Tier 2 combat power detector. While the students chatter on, Grandmaster Qin quietly observes Su Hong. He notes that Su Hong actively blends into the crowd without trying to stand out. Just then, some dude next to Su Hong notices Qin staring in their direction, and somehow figures Qin must be keeping an eye on him because of his non-existent talent. But Su Hong just stares at him like a clown, knowing the dude is just Delulu. This is because Su Hong knows that Qin is definitely watching him. A few minutes later, Qin addresses the crowd and lets them know that he has high hopes for them. He also raises the stakes by adding a bigger reward to what was previously promised. Qin announces that he will be rewarding an A-rank martial art or movement technique to the person with the highest overall score. Basically, the winner gets to choose one from several A-rank techniques. This revelation hypes up the crowd and also raises the difficulty because now Tantuo and his genius group will go all out. Just as they speculated, this news sparks Tantuo's interest because A-rank martial arts are very expensive. Even the top powerful families only have a few of them in their possession. Xiao is also interested in it because she gets to pick which one she wants. Singhi, on the other hand, just wants to get his hands on a technique that can complement his soaring swan cloud movement technique. He plans to use it to prove to everyone that being fast is just as powerful as other combat techniques. At the same time, Suhong is excited to add another A-rank martial art to his growing list. He makes up his mind to go all out for first place in the comprehensive test. Meanwhile, Qin focuses his gaze on Suhong and looks forward to seeing how strong he is. Qin then calls Singhi to start the test, and Zhao goes next while Tantuo takes the third spot. A chatter erupts in the hall because of this insane, powerful lineup, and no one wants to be the unlucky soul to take the fourth spot since they don't want to be embarrassed. After witnessing monstrous numbers from the powerful trio, the fourth person will surely be the laughingstock with their mediocre scores. Suddenly, Qin announces that Suhong will take the fourth spot, causing the hall to fall silent as all eyes turn to stare at him. This announcement convinces Suhong that Qin truly has his eyes on him. The crowd then begins mocking Suhong, remembering he was the same dude who came in last during the entrance assessment. Chen and Tu sympathize with Suhong for being unlucky and wonder if he offended Qin. The students continue to come up with different reasons why Suhong was chosen, but each reason is that they look down on him. However, the two dudes who have witnessed Suhong's true strength firsthand remain quiet. They can't wait for the crowd to be shocked speechless soon and swallow their words. As Singhi takes the stage for his test, the instructor reminds him to test his physical combat power first before his martial arts combat power. Singhi doesn't look forward to the first test because physical strength isn't his strongest suit. Still, he punches the combat power detector with everything he's got and his score hits a little over 4,000. A score considered crazy insane for someone who just claimed physical strength is his weakest suit. Everyone is shocked that Singhi scored so high even without using martial arts. However, they agree that this score is indeed weak compared to his insane speed in the agility room. While everyone is excited about Singhi's non-martial combat score, Suhong is only interested in his martial art technique. He reasons that Singhi must have at least a B-rank martial art since his movement technique is A-rank. Suhong is excited about this and looks forward to copying it. Singhi then unleashes his martial arts skill, the Cloud-Hidden Gale Fist, to deliver a powerful punch on the combat power detector. He hits a score of over 5,600, leaving the crowd completely stunned. Such a score is considered the standard for a Tier 2 martial artist, so it's surprising for Singhi, a high-stage Tier 1, to possess it. While everyone else is talking about how amazing Singhi is, Suhong successfully copies his B-rank wind attribute, Cloud-Hidden Gale Fist. Suhong is a bit disappointed that Singhi's strength only slightly increased by 1,600, despite using a B-rank martial art. However, Singhi is proud of himself, because this is considered a big deal for someone who doesn't rely on brute strength. But Zhao tells him to wipe the smug look off his face because it's nothing impressive. She then proceeds to score a little over 3,000 on her physical combat power test. No one is disappointed because it's normal for a telekinetics body to be physically weaker, but their strength is in their telekinetic martial arts. Next, Zhao takes in a deep breath as she condenses spiritual energy into forming a giant mallet. Meanwhile, Suhong is over the moon as he immediately copies her spirit weapon condensation martial art. With such an amazing A-rank technique in hand, he doesn't regret coming to the genius training camp. Suhong even looks forward to all the martial arts skills he can copy and paste during the comprehensive test today. With her spirit-condensed weapon, Zhao strikes the combat power tester, gaining a score of nearly 6,000, which is higher than Singhi's. The crowd is amazed that her score was almost doubled, convincing them that heaven is definitely playing favorites. While others express how jealous they are of Xiao's telekinesis power, Suhong quietly absorbs the skill and tries to master it. Basically, harnessing spirit power through telekinesis can help the user walk on air, control objects, and have many other practical uses in combat. Suhong manages to condense some spiritual energy, but it dissipates before he can form any tangible weapon. It even leaves him completely wiped out. Though this telekinetic martial art can form anything, including fierce beasts, it consumes way too much spirit. Suhong knows that with his current spirit level, it will be difficult for him to get to Xiao's level right away. He then immediately returns to reality and decides to learn it gradually later. Since Tantuo is going up next, Suhong can't wait to see his offensive martial arts. Tantuo soon takes the stage and a loud chatter erupts among the students as they look forward to seeing the power of a real combat genius. Since he possesses the barbarian god physique, Tantuo's combat power is far more terrifying than anyone else, so the students feel he's definitely a shoo-in for first place. Suhong is also curious to know the difference between Tantuo's physique and his own overlord physique. Tantuo boasts about his power as he prepares to strike the combat power tester. When he finally unleashes the powerful punch, he scores above 5,000 and almost reaches Singhi's martial arts combat score by 300. Qin commends him and Tantuo thanks the Grandmaster for the praise before announcing that he'll be using his martial arts next. Suhong is excited when he hears this and focuses intently on the demonstration. Tantuo then activates his fire attribute A-rank Bone Nether Flame Fist while Su-hong copies it. Su-hong recognizes it as the same one he saw in the martial arts pavilion that cost 2,800 contribution points. Tantuo then unleashes the punch and scores over 7,500 points, leaving the crowd stunned. Apparently, this combat power is on par with a Tier 2 mid-stage martial artist. And what makes it more amazing is that Tantuo's vital blood is around 350, which is considered low for such an insane combat power. Qin praises Tantuo and lets him know that his father would be proud. Apparently, Tantuo's father sired over a dozen offspring in his quest to produce a grandmaster. Tantuo thanks Qin for the high praise, after which Qin calls Su-hong to the stage next. As Su-hong walks up to the stage, people begin to gossip. Some complain that he looks too calm because he just doesn't care since he's bound to lose. When he finally steps onto the platform, Qin reminds him about the rules of the test, and without hesitation, Su-hong prepares to deliver the first punch. He then takes a deep breath, and as his fist lunges forward, he vows to get the reward for first place. Su-hong finally hits the combat tester, and just the pressure from the strike causes a huge wind to blow through the hall. He gains an outrageous score of over 6,500, leaving them speechless. Even Qin is shocked and quickly realizes he may have underestimated Su-hong. Meanwhile, the crowd remains completely silent as they try to process what they just witnessed. When they finally come back to their senses, some of them begin to wonder if the machine is broken. Others point out that he came in dead last during the entrance assessment, so it makes no sense that he's suddenly acting like an overpowered monster. Even the so-called three geniuses of the camp are left questioning their existence. Singi believes that Su-hong must be hiding his real level, while Tantuo admits that he was too arrogant before. Su-hong then breaks the silence as he asks Qin if he should continue the next test. Qin tells him to go ahead, and as he prepares to take the next punch, Su-hong begins to quickly comprehend Tantuo's Bone Nether Flame Fist technique. He comprehends the skill even faster than Singi's movement technique, convincing him that this one is perfect for his physique. While they wait for Su-hong to make a move, the instructor Linza and Qin wonder how high he'll score with martial arts. Linz feels that Su-hong might not do well because he comes from a poor family and can't afford any decent martial arts technique. However, after observing Su-hong's current state, Qin believes that he's about to unleash a high-grade martial arts. Meanwhile, Su-hong finally masters the Bone Nether Flame Fist to beginner level in less than a minute. As he tests the flame on his fist, everyone is surprised that it's the same one Tantuo used previously. They wonder how a broke dude like Su-hong knows the same A-rank martial arts their idol uses. Meanwhile, Su-hong prepares to test what a powerful offensive high-grade martial art feels like. As he takes a powerful swing and punches the combat power tester, the pressure from the strike almost sweeps the crowd off their feet. The resulting punch even causes a huge wave of dust to cover the room. When the dust finally settles, everyone is left stunned as Su-hong scores a little over 9,000. And this score is considered the standard for a Tier 2 high-stage martial artist, while Su-hong is only a Tier 1 early stage. Linz finds this ridiculous because Su-hong has such a low vital blood value. Qin even admits that Su-hong is truly a one-of-a-kind monster. Singi refuses to believe what he just witnessed, while Xiao mentions that Su-hong's vital blood value must be over 500, since that is the standard for a Tier 2 high-stage martial artist. Hearing this, Tantuo decides to accept his L like a king since his own vital blood isn't up to 400. However, the next moment, a shockwave hits them when they realize that Su-hong's vital blood is only at a measly 137. No one wants to believe such an absurd thing and would rather believe that the machine is broken. Someone even mentions that Su-hong's score must be missing an extra 0 at the end, because there is no way the combat power of someone with such terrible stats is at the same level as a Tier 2 high-stage martial artist. Qin quietly observes Su-hong as he steps out of the vital blood detector. He then announces that they'll begin the combat ranking tournament. He explains that it will be based on a challenge system, and anyone can freely pick an opponent to challenge. However, the winner of the tournament will be the person no one dares to challenge. The moment Qin finishes explaining the rules, Singhei immediately challenges Su-hong. Singhei only challenged Su-hong because of his low vital blood and believes he can win with his movement techniques. Since he has more vital blood, Singhei plans to dodge Su-hong's attacks and exhaust him out of the duel. He is convinced that all Su-hong has is brute force thanks to his combat power. Qin immediately turns down his request and informs the trio that they will be attacking Su-hong together. The trio smugly rejects the offer, fearing they might cripple Su-hong, and they feel Qin is giving Su-hong more credit than he deserves. Qin then asks Su-hong for his opinion, and Su-hong casually accepts the challenge, annoying them even more. Especially Singhei, who believes he can just make Su-hong dizzy by running him into the ground with a movement technique. A few moments later, Su-hong tells the trio to come at him, and without hesitation they charge forward, preparing to take him out in one strike. Singhei, overly confident, even closes his eyes as he fantasizes sneaking up on Su-hong while he's distracted with the other two. He's convinced that with his flying swan cloud step technique, Su-hong will not be able to react in time. Unbeknownst to him, he's about to be thrashed by Su-hong, and at that moment, Xiao and Tantuo try to call him back to reality. But by the time he opens his eyes, Singhe is unable to react in time, and Su-hong is already close. As he prepares to strike Singhe, Su-hong bids him farewell, but just as he's about to strike, Su-hong's fist is turned away, giving Singhe time to escape. It turns out Xiao used telekinesis to stop Su-hong. Singhe then thanks her for helping him and warns the others to be careful of Su-hong's speed. Meanwhile, Su-hong is still recovering from being controlled against his will by Xiao's telekinesis. He glances at her and decides to take her out first, since she's an uncontrollable variable. Using Singhe's flying swan technique, Su-hong swiftly charges towards Xiao, leaving her puzzled. Even Singhe is shocked and wonders how Su-hong knows this since he's supposed to be a fire attribute user. Tantuo lets them know that Su-hong must possess dual attributes and orders them to stop him from advancing. He decides to go on the offensive with his bone nether flame fist and tells Xiao to use spirit control on Su-hong to stall for time. As Tantuo is about to strike, Su-hong prepares to use the same fist technique to counter the attack. But Xiao suddenly uses spirit control to freeze him on the spot. Su-hong tries to break free but realizes it's harder than he expected. While he struggles, Singhe sneaks up from behind with a kick. Seeing him trapped, Qin feels it might be too soon for him to go up against three, especially with Xiao's ability to mind control an opponent. Once a person is controlled, they have to force their way out with physical strength or resist with their own spirit power. And Su-hong's spirit power is currently non-existent. Qin also believes that Su-hong's physical strength is still too weak to break free from Xiao's influence. While everyone else speculates negatively about Su-hong's fate, Qin catches him smiling. Just as Tantuo and Singhe are about to close in, Su-hong shockingly breaks free from Xiao's spirit control with force. The shockwave from it pushes Xiao back, making her cough up blood. After handling the mind control diva, Su-hong grabs Tantuo's fist and Singhe's foot, blocking their attack. The crowd is stunned that Su-hong stopped three powerful attacks simply by relying on his physical strength. This makes them conclude that he's definitely some kind of insane humanoid beast. The moment Su-hong properly secures Tantuo by the hand and Singhe by his ankle, he swings them violently in the air, making them gasp for air. After swinging them to his heart's content, Su-hong proceeds to wipe the floor clean with them, smashing them into the ground several times. As Singhe and Tantuo's spirits begin to vacate their bodies, the crowd stares at the brutal sight, completely speechless. But Su-hong refuses to stop and continues to smash them into the ground, leaving them half dead. Satisfied with the result, he soon stops, and just then, his eyes land on Xiao, who has been frozen in place the whole time. Before Su-hong can make a move, Xiao hurriedly taps out, begging him to stay away from her. Just like that, the underdog no one expected to win successfully defeats the so-called strongest geniuses, leaving everyone in shock. They can't believe Su-hong actually won and single-handedly defeated the powerful trio. A few minutes later, Qin orders the students to quiet down before asking if anyone wants to challenge Su-hong. The room immediately falls silent, and after a brief pause, Qin announces that Su-hong is number 1 in the combat assessment. Since no one wants to get turned into a punching bag for a lunatic like Su-hong, everyone agrees with Qin's decision. Qin then gives Su-hong the first place position and tells the others to keep fighting for the remaining 9 slots while he takes Su-hong to receive his reward. Su-hong is over the moon and looks forward to getting the A-rank martial art. On the way to the martial arts pavilion, Qin tells Su-hong that he has been watching him ever since he arrived at the camp. He then asks why Su-hong chooses to hide his strength instead of showing it off like everyone else. Su-hong explains that he doesn't want to attract unwanted attention. Without a powerful backer or any real influence, standing out would only make him a target. Qin finds the answer amusing and praises him for his caution and intelligence. He then reveals that the combat tournament was arranged specifically for Su-hong because he needed a legitimate excuse to secure more resources for Su-hong. Since those resources are reserved for true geniuses, Qin tells him that there is no need to keep hiding his talent anymore. He vows to become Su-hong's backer and promises to deal with anyone who dares to make trouble for him. Moved by the offer, Su-hong sincerely thanks Qin for his support. A few moments later, they arrive at the martial arts pavilion, and Qin asks the clerk to bring out the martial arts catalog. He tells Su-hong to look through it carefully before making a choice and to ask if he has any questions. As Su-hong flips through the list, he asks Qin for a recommendation. Qin responds by asking how many martial arts techniques he currently knows. Su-hong explains that he knows a few low-grade techniques and about 4 high-grade ones like the Bone Nether Flame Fist, Flying Swan Cloud Step, Cloud Hidden Gale Fist, and Void Breaking Finger. Qin is surprised by the answer since the camp's martial arts pavilion doesn't even contain the first 2 techniques. He then asks if Su-hong learned them simply by watching Singhe use them once. Su-hong confirms it, and Qin can only stare at him in disbelief, wondering what kind of monster he has just discovered. The pavilion receptionist is puzzled as she watches Qin help Su-hong browse through the list. She wonders what his identity is for the Grandmaster to personally bring him here to choose a martial arts technique. After searching through the list, Qin tells Su-hong to choose a control-type martial art since he already has an attack and a movement technique. He suggests picking the A-rank flame cage, which condenses spirit energy to trap the enemy in a cage of flame. Basically, control-type martial arts require releasing spiritual energy from the body, while the attack type requires attaching the spiritual energy to a weapon or the body. However, Qin warns Su-hong that it's difficult for most Tier 2 martial artists to release tangible spiritual energy from their bodies. And since Su-hong is just at the early stage of Tier 1, it isn't recommended for him. However, with Su-hong's talent, Qin believes he should be able to learn it. Qin knows this type of martial arts and decides to demonstrate it for Su-hong to let him make up his mind if he wants to learn it. Su-hong thanks Qin with a sly look on his face, knowing he can simply copy it and then ask for a different A-rank martial art. Qin then begins the demonstration by condensing spiritual energy in his hand to form a flame. After that, he releases the flame nearby, forming a cage of flames. He then tells Su-hong not to look down on this type of technique just because it lacks the destructive ability of attack types. He adds that they're quite useful during combat and proceeds to show Su-hong what he means. First, he traps the enemy with the flame cage and attacks them, which makes it impossible for them to dodge, allowing for a one-shot kill. Su-hong learns that the only downside of control-type martial arts is maintaining the flame cage while launching attacks at the same time. Qin tells him to focus on just the flame cage since attacking at the same time is beyond his level. Apparently, Qin only managed to master both after he became a Tier 3 martial artist, so it's impossible for Su-hong with his level. Since it's that difficult, Su-hong quickly turns it down and decides to choose something different for now. Qin is impressed that Su-hong didn't arrogantly try to learn the control-type martial arts like other geniuses would have done. This convinces him that Su-hong will go far because of his humility and ability to listen to advice. Unbeknownst to Qin, Su-hong has already copied the flame cage technique, and his humility is part of his Oscar award-winning acting skills. Su-hong then returns the technique to Qin and humbly asks him to recommend another one. Qin agrees to help, and after flipping through the list, he suggests choosing a defensive martial art. He settles for an A-rank Earth attribute thick Earth armor, which he believes is perfect for Su-hong. This technique condenses Earth's spiritual energy to form battle armor on the surface of the body, providing an extremely high defense system. Su-hong is pleased with this recommendation because when paired with his physical body, the effect will surely make him invincible to attack. As he happily accepts Qin's recommendation, Qin asks about his special physique. Su-hong replies that it's the Overlord physique, expecting some kind of over-the-top reaction from Qin. Among the 3,000 known physiques, this one is the strongest in terms of raw strength, so Su-hong expects the Grandmaster to hand him a bunch of A-rank martial arts techniques once he hears about his awesome physique. However, Qin's reaction is mid, since he has never even heard the name Overlord physique before. Embarrassed, Su-hong confesses that he came up with the name since such a physique has never been recorded. Qin believes him because earlier, Su-hong easily blocked Tantuo's full-strength punch without batting an eye. With such terrifying strength, Qin figures that this physique should be more powerful than Tantuo's barbarian god physique. He then explains that he has never seen the strength of a Tier 1 martial artist reach such a level. Suddenly, an unusual ringtone breaks their conversation, and Su-hong is surprised that it belongs to the Grandmaster. The caller turns out to be the female camp instructor, Baimu, as Qin impatiently tells her that he's busy. Baimu quickly lets Qin know that they discovered something bizarre while tracking students' contribution points. She reveals that Su-hong seems to be wearing a weighted vest during his duel with the three geniuses. Shocked, Qin asks Su-hong to confirm the claim, and Su-hong casually replies that it is true. He explains that he couldn't take it off because he needed to farm contribution points. Realizing that Su-hong didn't use his full power during the test because of the weighted vest, Qin begins to practice breathing exercises to stop his brain from exploding. After regaining his composure, he tells Su-hong to stop struggling for those measly points and promises to give him plenty of rewards as long as he successfully challenges the training camp. Afterwards, he tells Su-hong to remove the weight vest, and Su-hong complies. Just then, the clerk offers to help him return the vest to the warehouse, but Su-hong says it's too heavy. However, the clerk insists, claiming that she's a dignified Tier 2 martial artist. However, the moment Su-hong lets the vest go, the clerk's eyes widen, and at that moment, she knows she's messed up majorly. The weight vest slips right through her hands, leaving her completely stunned as it shatters the ground beneath it. She then asks how many kilograms it weighs, and Su-hong casually reveals that it weighs 5 tons. Qin can't believe that an early-stage Tier 1 beat 3 late-stage geniuses while wearing an insane 5-ton weighted vest. Realizing that Su-hong might be stronger than he anticipated, Qin decides to use him to farm aura points from all the Grandmasters who look down on his training camp. Like some chummy buddy, he grabs Su-hong by the shoulder, telling him that he has another A-rank technique for him. Su-hong asks about the martial technique, and Qin explains that it's a thunder spear martial art belonging to Zhang Lin, the Grandmaster of Yang City. Since Su-hong also uses a spear, Qin believes this martial art is perfect for him. He also boasts that this technique is considered the strongest among other A-rank martial arts. Qin plans to take Su-hong to Yang City to challenge Grandmaster Lin's prize student and scam him out of the technique. Su-hong feels this might be a bad idea, but Qin just wants revenge because Lin has been mocking the Star City training camp for producing trash talent every year. He then tells Su-hong to head back to his dorm and prepare to depart for Yang City first thing in the morning. That night, Su-hong returns to his dorm, surprised to find it sparkly clean. He then decides to cultivate the 3 new martial arts he acquired during the day, which include the Flame Cage, Spirit Condensation Art, and the Earth Battle Armor. Su-hong hopes to at least reach the beginner stage in all 3 of them before leaving the camp the next morning. Meanwhile, Qin is busy calling Lin to challenge him to a duel in exchange for the Thunder Spear art. Lin smugly tells Qin to stop deceiving himself because he has a wood spirit prodigy at an early stage, Tier 2. He also proudly declares that his star student has learned the A-rank wood control type martial arts, Wood Prison, to the point of releasing spiritual energy from his body. Just as Lin predicted, his prodigy, Lin Chufeng, successfully conjures a wood prison from condensed spiritual energy. However, he's unable to hold it for long, and it dissipates after a few seconds. Chufeng is disappointed that he failed again, but Lin reminds him that control-type martial arts are not something to be learned in a day. Since Chufeng only started learning 2 days ago, Lin advises him to take it slow. Moved by his master's words, Chufeng excitedly promises to successfully master the martial art technique to the beginner stage in a month. Lin calls Qin, who is still on the call, to boast about Chufeng's claim. Apparently, this is a huge deal because it took Grandmaster Lin 3 months to learn the same martial art style. He then mocks Qin, telling him that Chufeng is not someone that trash talents from Star City Camp can challenge. Qin is pissed to hear this, but before he can protest, Lin hangs up on him. Lin then tells Chufeng to go easy on Qin's students later. He advises him not to win too easily to save them some face, and Chufeng agrees to put on an award-winning performance. The following day, Qin and Su-hong arrive at the Yang City training camp, flying through the air. Even though he's only using Qin's power to fly, the experience feels exhilarating for Su-hong, who is flying for the first time. Before they can even drop their feet on the ground, Lin can't wait to see the so-called genius Qin was boasting about. Qin then introduces Su-hong to them and reveals that he uses a spear, just like Lin. Su-hong greets Lin, but Lin is too focused on the fact that he's just an early-stage Tier 1 trash. Recalling how he asked Chufeng to put on an act, Lin wonders how they're supposed to do that now that their opponent has such a low level. He reasons that it's just overkill to make a Tier 2 fight an early-stage Tier 1. However, Qin remains calm and tells Lin to begin the duel immediately. A few moments later, they arrive at the martial arena where a crowd has gathered to watch the duel, and everyone looks forward to seeing how strong Su-hong is. Lin then introduces Qin to them and Su-hong as the genius of the Star City training camp. However, when he reveals Su-hong's martial arts level, everyone erupts in shock. They can't believe Su-hong, an early-stage Tier 1, is challenging a Tier 2 martial artist. They wonder if they should praise him for being courageous or for being plain stupid by courting death. Even Chufeng is stunned speechless and wonders how he is supposed to put on his award-winning performance with such a gap in their level. As a consequence of losing the challenge, Lin smugly tells Qin that he has to teach Chufeng an A-rank martial art. He also promises to teach Su-hong an extra A-rank technique apart from the Thunder Spear that was promised if he defeats Chufeng. Su-hong thanks Lin for his generosity, while Qin is over the moon that they managed to scam another reward. Lin finds Qin's enthusiasm a bit weird, but he remains calm, believing that there's no way Su-hong can beat a Tier 2 martial artist with a wood spirit body. As Chufeng and Su-hong prepare to face off, Lin reminds Chufeng to hold back a little. Chufeng assures him that he will, and unsheathes his sword while feeling like he has everything figured out. Underestimating his opponents, Chufeng tries to figure out how to put on a good show without badly injuring Su-hong with a single strike. He tells Su-hong to draw his spear, but Su-hong casually says he doesn't need it for now. Su-hong only knows a C-rank spear technique, which is inferior to his other martial arts. Using such a technique in this battle will greatly put him at a disadvantage, so he doesn't plan to use a weapon. However, Chufeng is pissed and misunderstands Su-hong's reason as sheer arrogance. He immediately charges forward to attack him while Su-hong remains calm and continues to stretch his arm with no care in the world. Just as Chufeng is about to strike him, Su-hong effortlessly dodges the attack, using the flying swan cloud step to appear behind him. Chufeng is taken aback that Su-hong actually possesses a wind attribute A-rank movement skill, but this only makes things more interesting for him, and he charges towards Su-hong again, believing that movement skills are useless against a wood spirit prodigy like himself. He then activates the wood prison and manages to trap Su-hong from moving. Su-hong is a bit impressed that Chufeng possesses a control-type martial art since they're considered too difficult to learn. But even that can't keep him trapped, as he plans to forcibly break free from it using his physical strength. However, before he can make a move, Chufeng's wood prison instantly dissipates, leaving Su Hong utterly disappointed. But those few seconds of distraction are enough for Chufeng to try to sneak attack him. Before Chufeng can land his strike, Su Hong catches sight of him and swiftly prepares to strike back with the cloud-hidden Gale Fist. Seeing that Su Hong's punch is moving in too fast for him to dodge, Chufeng decides to block it using a wood shield. Unfortunately, Su Hong punches right through the shield, leaving Chufeng completely stunned, and before he can react, the punch throws him off, making him regret the life decision that brought him up to this point. He finally admits that Su Hong's strength is more monstrous than he anticipated. Even the spectators are amazed that a Tier 1 dude destroyed a defensive A-rank Tier 2 martial art. They conclude that Su Hong's strength probably surpasses that of a vicious beast. Meanwhile, Qin is having the time of his life as he teases Lin about the match. However, Lin believes that Su Hong's brute strength isn't enough to topple his star student. Without giving Chufeng any space to breathe, Su Hong swiftly tries to crush him under his feet, but realizes it's not the real Chufeng. It turns out to be an afterimage, and while Su Hong is distracted, Chufeng tries to sneak up behind him with an A-rank movement skill. Fortunately, Su Hong reacts in time and swiftly dodges the attack. At that moment, Chufeng is almost out of juice and tells Su Hong to stop running. He commends him for lasting this long and admits that Su Hong's strength is commendable for an early-stage Tier 1. Chufeng even claims that he has been holding back out of consideration for Su Hong's low level. Despite all his long talks, Su Hong ignores him and raises his finger towards him. Chufeng is puzzled as he wonders what Su Hong is doing, but before he can figure it out, Su Hong traps him in a flame cage, leaving Chufeng speechless. He can't believe that Su Hong also possesses a control-type martial art with his low level. Believing that Su Hong cannot maintain the cage for long, Chufeng plans to wait for it to collapse before making a move. Meanwhile, Lin is finally convinced that Su Hong's talent is insane, while Qin is just as shocked as he is. Seeing the expression on Qin's face, Lin calls him out for pretending, believing that Qin must have taught Su Hong the flame cage skill. Unbeknownst to him, Qin is equally confused because he only showed Su Hong that skill once. Lin continues grilling Qin, especially since he thought Su Hong possessed a wind attribute. Qin smugly reveals that Su Hong actually possesses multiple attributes. Lin closely observes the flame cage and wonders why it hasn't collapsed. When Qin looks closely, he notices a blue flame gathering around Su Hong's hand. Chufeng's eyes widen when he notices it, and he almost drops dead when he realizes that Su Hong can also attack while maintaining the flame cage. This is something that even a Tier 3 martial artist struggles to do, but it's only a piece of cake for a monster like Su Hong. Without wasting any time, Su Hong uses the bone nether flame fist to attack Chufeng inside the prison. Chufeng tries to block it with the wood shield, but Su Hong's punch breaks through the shield, hitting Chufeng in his abdomen. This strike almost causes him to throw up his whole digestive system and even shatters his sword into pieces. Without giving Chufeng any chance to recover from the first punch, Su Hong delivers another strike, ripping the dude's shirt. When Chufeng's back hits the cage, the flame barbecues his skin medium rare, but he immediately activates a recovery skill, completely healing himself. Chufeng then boasts about his healing power, telling Su Hong not to underestimate his wood spirit body. Su Hong is impressed by Chufeng's physique and its ability to recover, but since one punch didn't do any damage, he decides to continuously punch him until his recovery skill can't keep up. Su Hong then unleashes a flurry of attacks on him, but Chufeng continues to heal himself, believing that his endurance will surely outlast Su Hong's. After a while, Su Hong stops hitting while Chufeng activates the recovery skill. He proudly challenges Su Hong to see whose special skill runs out faster. Su Hong knows that his flame cage is about to dissipate because he's running out of spiritual energy, and once Chufeng breaks free from the cage, the tables might turn against him. After briefly weighing his options, Su Hong deactivates the flame cage by himself, making Chufeng feel smug for a minute. Chufeng boasts that it's his turn to counterattack and claims that Su Hong is sure to lose, but the next moment he swallows his words as Su Hong shows off his Fire Thunder attribute fusion. He wasn't planning on using it because it consumes way too much energy, but Chufeng just had to mouth off ignorantly. It is at this very moment that Chufeng knew he had picked on the wrong opponent. He refuses to believe that this is the power of a low-level Tier 1 martial artist and finally admits that Su Hong is a monster. Despite the obvious gap in their power, Chufeng refuses to give up, and to keep Su Hong away, he places his hand on the ground to activate wood release. With this skill, he builds a strong wooden wall separating him from Su Hong. Unfortunately, that doesn't stop a monster like Su Hong from easily tearing through the wall with Thunderfire Fusion Fist. With a single punch, he rams through the wooden wall and punches Chufeng directly in the face, knocking him out. An eerie silence falls on the arena as everyone tries to process what they just witnessed. After a brief pause, loud chatter erupts as the spectators discuss Su Hong's strength. Someone even compares his punch to that of an S-rank martial artist. Lin, on the other hand, is still trembling as he questions what type of beast Qin brought to his turf. He can't believe that Su-hong can actually use the legendary attribute fusion and finds it even more ridiculous that he mastered it at such a young age. However, Qin has seen way too amazing things from Su-hong to be moved. Taking advantage of this, he decides to rub it in Lin's face by casually revealing that it only took Su-hong 1 month to fuse 2 attributes. Lin's brain starts buffering as he takes a little time to digest what he just heard. But old Qin doesn't stop there, and further explains that Su-hong has 100% affinity in all 7 attributes, and he practices all 7 of them simultaneously. At this point, Lin's soul is ready to check out of his body while Qin casually sips tea, clearly enjoying himself. Meanwhile, Lin's mind almost explodes as he tries to comprehend the fact that an early-stage Tier 1 dude fused 2 attributes in 1 month and has 100% affinity for all 7 attributes while practicing them all at the same time. Qin brings him back to reality, reminding him that he owes Su-hong the A-rank Thunder Spear art and his ultimate technique, the Palm Thunder. A few moments after the match, Lin takes Su-hong to the martial arts training room to fulfill his promise. As they stare down at each other, tension strong enough to power the city settles in the room. Su-hong's calmness leaves Lin feeling uneasy because he has never seen a freak of nature like Su-hong before. After a brief silence, Lin tells Su-hong that he's going to teach him the A-rank Thunder Spear art, known as the 9 Heaven-Breaking Spears. Apparently, the 9 Heaven-Breaking Spear has 3 stances with 3 moves each per stance. Each stance is more powerful than the last, and the difficulty of learning them increases accordingly. Lin says he wouldn't even teach this skill to anyone below Tier 4, but he's making an exception because of Su-hong's talent. However, despite Su-hong's talent, Lin expects him to pick up only the first stance. After the briefing, Lin proceeds to demonstrate and tells Su-hong to watch him closely. For the first stance, called Overturning the River, he unleashes an enormous river of lightning, and with the second stance, Inverting the Sea, Lin flips the lightning sea upside down. The effect of the shockwave almost pulls Su-hong off his feet as if being washed away by a giant wave, but Su-hong manages to hold his ground. Lin then proceeds to show him the third and most powerful stance, Heaven Breaking. This strike hits the sea, turning it into a roaring tornado shrouded in lightning. As he carefully observes it, Su-hong notes that Lin actually held back during the last stance to stop it from destroying the practice training room. Despite that, he is amazed that the shockwave from the last stance caused such a terrifying tornado. Su-hong knows his so-called monstrous strength is nothing compared to Lin's power, but he vows to reach that level in the near future. A few seconds after his demonstration, Lin hands Su-hong a small book containing his detailed notes on the 9 Heaven-Breaking Spears. He tells him to practice it alone and ask questions if stuck at any stage. Su-hong thanks him for helping, but Lin brushes it off, saying he's just doing it to fulfill a bet. He then promises to teach Su-hong the second A-rank martial art after he masters the first stance of the 9 Heaven-Breaking Spears. This is because Lin believes that Su-hong can only comprehend the first stance, even with his talent. Lin then reveals to Su-hong that the Palm Thunder martial art is extremely stronger than the Thunder Spear. Su-hong is amazed to hear this, leaving him determined to quickly master the Thunder Spear and proceed to learn the next one. Afterwards, Lin leaves Su-hong to train alone, saying he'll be back to check on his progress later. 1 hour later, Lin returns to the practice training room expecting Su-hong to be having a tough time. Apparently, it is supposed to take about 1 or 2 months to fully master the Heaven-Breaking Spears. But upon entering the hall, Lin is shocked to see that Su-hong has achieved mastery at the beginner level. The worst is when Su-hong casually claims that he has only comprehended the basics and asks Lin to teach him the Palm Thunder art next. Lin's brain struggles to understand what the hell he just witnessed as he doubts whether Su-hong is actually human. Only a few hours later, Lin is dumbfounded as he quietly sits outside the training room, questioning the reason for his measly existence. Qin soon arrives, asking why he's spacing out instead of teaching Su-hong the next martial technique. Lin lets Qin know that he has already taught Su-hong the Palm Thunder art and tells him to check on it himself. However, Qin doesn't believe him, and as he pushes the door open, he warns Lin not to pull any tricks because a step-by-step hands-on method is needed to teach the Palm Thunder art, and Lin is sitting outside instead of instructing Su-hong properly. Upon entering the practice room, Qin realizes that Su-hong has mastered the technique. While Qin stares at him, utterly speechless, Su-hong proudly announces that he has mastered the ultimate lightning skill. Unable to handle how fast Su-hong comprehended the skill, Qin joins Lin outside as the two men question everything they know. Lin is even more devastated because it took him 3 months to master this same skill, and his teachers even praised him for being a genius. Lin then tells Qin that Su-hong's future is limitless because he's destined to reach Tier 9 one day. Qin comforts Lin and offers to treat him to a meal to get over not being the genius he thought he was. Before leaving, Qin tells Su-hong that they'll be heading back to Star City Camp the following day. He also tells him to find the camp's teaching assistant and get them to arrange a temporary room for the night. Later that night at Yang City's dorm, Su-hong settles down to check on his stats. He had gathered about 230 martial Dao points after defeating Chufeng, Tantuo, and his other friends. Su-hong's vital blood has also increased to 138, and 3 of his attribute guiding techniques have increased to level 5. All his A-rank martial arts are at mastery, except for spirit weapon condensation, which was still at beginner level. Since his vital blood is still low, Su-hong considers upgrading it a bit and using the rest of the points to upgrade his spirit, physique, and martial arts. However, after pondering for a while, he decides not to split the points because it is not enough to make any major splash on his stats. He then settles for only upgrading his vital blood, and after the upgrade, Su-hong's vital blood increases to 161 points. Su-hong's next priority is getting more martial Dao points, but after he beat up the so-called 3 geniuses, no one will dare spar with him again. Now his only option is to keep farming points in the beast room, even though it is a bit slow.
Elsewhere, Lin is having a drinking spree with Qin while lamenting about how Qin cheated him out of 2 A-rank martial arts. Qin is already fed up because he has heard this over 100 times already. Just then, the teaching assistant barges into the room to remind Lin about the scheduled night raid. Lin gives him the go-ahead, reminding him not to go easy on the students. Without hesitation, the assistant immediately calls someone and orders them to start the night raid as instructed by Lin. But when Qin reminds Lin that Su-hong is temporarily staying at the dorms, Lin realizes he may have messed up. He hurriedly tells the assistant to postpone the raid, but it's too late as the man lets him know that the night raid has already begun.
Meanwhile, outside the dormitory building, several top-tier martial artists gather to carry out the night raid. Among them is Jin Feng, who was beaten to a pulp by Su-hong back in Star City training camp, and his brother Jin Long. Jin Feng wonders why his brother, a high-grade Tier 2 martial artist, is participating in a night raid. Jin Long explains that Lin specifically called him in to test Chufeng's ability. However, Jin Long feels it's a bit overkill to have him handle a puny early-stage Tier 2 wood spirit. Watching his brother boast, Jin Feng can't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. Jin Long then teases Jin Feng about getting his peaches kicked during the night raid in Star City camp. Embarrassed, Jin Feng tries to argue that he was only defeated because he underestimated the opponent. He swears that he will definitely win if given another chance to redeem himself. Jin Long reminds him that it's nothing to be proud of for a Tier 2 martial artist to beat someone at the Tier 1 level. Jin Feng then warns his brother not to be like him and underestimate his opponent. He reminds Jin Long that the wood spirit body is considerably powerful and advises him to be careful, but Jin Long laughs it off, claiming he can never mess up such a simple thing. A few moments later, the raiders cover their faces with masks, and at the commander's prompt, they charge into the dormitories like assassins. The next second, screams echo from different parts of the dormitories, drawing Su-hong's attention. Just in front of his door, one of the raiders attacks some dude who is on a clothing budget. During the commotion, the raider notices Su-hong and tries to attack him, but Su-hong jabs him under the jaw, knocking him into the roof of his dorm. Su-hong tells the dude to ask questions next time before acting rashly, since he's not even a member of this training camp. Suddenly, he gets an idea of how to take advantage of the night raid. Since the raiders are in disguise, Su-hong plans to dress up as one of them and farm martial Dao points by defeating the students. Even though he knows this is a terribly mischievous idea, Su-hong can't help but be thrilled to play the bad guy. A few minutes later, he steals the dude's clothes, including his underwear. He even plans to knock him out, but before he can do so, another raider rushes in to help. Su-hong first signals his victim to shut up before preparing to knock the new raider out. The raider protests, reminding Su-hong that he's the commander in charge of the night raid. But despite his explanation, Su-hong still punches the guy into a wall, leaving the clothesless dude stunned. The dude is confused as he wonders whether the raiders are about to start an internal war between themselves. A few minutes later, Su-hong bolts out of the room, excited about farming his precious points. Meanwhile, the clothesless dude watches him leave, puzzled that Su-hong didn't knock him out as planned. Out in the corridor, Su-hong makes up his mind to go all out since the raiders are high tier, so there's no need for him to hold back his power. A few moments later, he runs into several raiders and effortlessly beats them up, including a few students. At this point, some of the raiders realize that there's a mole amongst them, but Su-hong continues to wreak havoc until he clears out the first floor. Afterwards, he proceeds to the second floor, causing insane chaos along the way. He then heads up to the third floor, grinning like he just hit the martial Dao jackpot as his points continue to increase rapidly. On the third floor, he finds a group of raiders watching an active fight between Chufeng and Jin Long. They are impressed that Chufeng was able to hold out against Jin Long for so long despite the gap in their levels. They also note that Jin Long might run out of juice soon with Chufeng's terrifying ability to heal himself. Fed up with the holdup on his precious Dao points, Su-hong tells the raiders to stop blocking the way. Thinking he's one of them, they casually tell him to join them in watching the battle between Chufeng and Jin Long. With a mischievous smile on his face, Su-hong tells the group that there's no need to continue. As he prepares to strike them, the dumb raiders stare at him, wondering what he's about to do.
However, before they can figure it out, Suhong attacks them at the same time, telling them that he has dealt with the wood spirit body before. The commotion behind soon catches Jinlong and Chufeng's attention. Not knowing that Suhong is behind the mask, Jinlong questions why he's attacking his own comrades. But Suhong ignores him and invites the two of them to come at him at the same time. Jinlong tells Chufeng to stand down for the moment, promising that he will finish him off after dealing with Suhong. Turning his attention to the masked fighter, Jinlong charges forward and declares that, as a raider, Suhong should focus on his assigned targets. Since he has chosen to interfere, Jinlong intends to teach him a lesson. As Jinlong closes the distance, Suhong calmly raises his fist to meet the attack. The moment their blows collide, a powerful shockwave erupts from the impact. Suhong's punch completely blocks Jinlong's strike, leaving him stunned. The force surging through the clash nearly shatters Jinlong's arm, causing him to stumble backwards in disbelief. Seeing Suhong immediately rush toward him, Jinlong abandons any thoughts of fighting alone and shouts for Chufeng to join forces with him to fight this crazy madman. According to Jinlong, Suhong is fighting like a madman. Without hesitation, Chufeng agrees, completely unaware that the person beneath the mask is actually his nemesis. Chufeng quickly unleashes Wood Prison in an attempt to restrain Suhong, but Suhong reacts instantly, evading the vines before they can trap him. However, while he's distracted, Jinlong sneaks up behind to knock him down. But before he can strike, Suhong activates the Earth Attribute Battle Armor, protecting himself from the punch. Jinlong is taken aback by this and is impressed that Suhong blocked his Tier 2 high stage attack. This makes him wonder where this unknown terror came from. Suddenly, he loses sight of Suhong in his giant Earth Battle Armor. Jinlong quickly scans the room looking for him, but Suhong suddenly appears out of nowhere, slamming him into a wall. He almost spews his guts while Suhong turns to face Chufeng next. Without warning, he appears above Chufeng and punches him into the ground, knocking the poor dude out in one strike. After taking out the two of them, Suhong gains a whopping 140 martial Dao points for defeating Jinlong and 70 points for Chufeng. He then checks his stats, and thanks to this little adventure, Suhong earned over 2,400 martial Dao points in one night. However, all his other stats remain the same as they were before the night raid. The following day, the whole of Young City's training camp students nurse their wounds, including the raiders. Meanwhile, Lin blames Qin for bringing his monstrous student and throwing the camp into chaos. Qin smugly lies through his teeth, explaining that Suhong didn't do anything, but Lin refuses to believe him. Fed up, he practically kicks them out of his camp, and Qin hurriedly picks Suhong up like a piece of meat as they float into the air. On their way out, Qin asks Suhong whether he possesses any metal, wood, or water martial arts. Suhong replies that he doesn't, and old Qin decides to pull similar scams on his other friends to get Suhong what he needs. Over the next couple of days, Qin takes Suhong to 3 different training camps where they successfully scam them out of A-rank martial arts. Suhong easily defeats their so-called prodigy, earning Qin some scolding from the Grandmaster. Using the same scamming technique, Suhong successfully won 3 new A-rank techniques. After returning to Star City's training camp, Suhong first comprehends the 3 skills he scammed thanks to Qin. One is the Golden Ripple Metal Attribute technique, the other is the Vine Strangling Wood attribute, while the third is the Water Dragon, a water attribute martial art. After only a few minutes, Suhong masters the 3 skills at the beginner level. And looking back at his past, he can't believe he owns this many A-rank martial arts. Now that he has almost 3,000 martial Dao points, Suhong decides it's time to increase his vital blood. His Thunder and Flame attribute guiding technique has also improved to level 6, while some of his martial arts, like the Gale Fist and Flying Swan movement, are already at the level of minute subtlety. The 3 were at the level of mastery, except for telekinesis, which is still at the beginner level. Suhong then uses most of his Dao points to increase his vital blood, but his muscles almost explode from adding too much at once. After consuming all the points, his body returns to normal, and his vital blood increases to 450. With this, Suhong is now only 50 points away from breaking through to a Tier 2 martial practitioner. Now that he has only 100 martial Dao points remaining, Suhong tries to figure out where to use them. He considers using it to strengthen his spirit or his overlord physique. After thinking about it for a few minutes, he decides to use it on his overlord physique. However, Suhong is instantly disappointed as 100 martial Dao points only add 0.1% to the overlord's body. Realizing his physique is too hard to level up, Suhong decides to leave it as it is for the time being. He then hurries out, determined to focus all his strength on breaking through to a Tier 2 martial practitioner. He plans to head to the Fierce Beast Room to farm some martial Dao points for his breakthrough. Upon opening the door, Suhong runs into Qin, who immediately asks him whether he has a healing martial art. Hearing this, Suhong immediately knows that Qin is up to no good and plans to scam another old dude out of his healing technique. Just as Suhong thought, Qin takes him to Hang City training camp to join their special wilderness training. At the training arena, the Grand Master, Wang Qinshan, announces that the students must survive in the 10,000 Demon Mountain range for 7 days without any supplies. Su Hong is amazed by the extreme difficulty of the Hang City training camp, and apparently they can only gain contribution points by defeating fierce beasts at the same level or above their own. Since Hang City is located in the provincial capital, it is expected that their camp is full of actual geniuses. Hence, the difficulty of their training far exceeds that of Star City Training Camp, which at this point is considered a piece of cake. After the announcement, Qinshan orders the camp to move out, and without hesitation, the students leap into the mountains. Once they leave, Qinshan asks Qin if he still dares to bet, knowing that Su Hong hasn't even reached Tier 2. Qin assures him that he's confident before restating the terms of their bet. If Su Hong wins, Qinshan has to teach him an A-rank healing martial art. However, if he loses, Qin promises to teach an A-rank martial art to as many students who beat Su Hong. Qinshan reminds him that half of the students in Hang City Camp are at Tier 2 and wonders if Qin can teach them all. Wanting to save him some face, Qinshan tells him to forget about the bet and just let Su Hong experience the terror of the beasts in the 10,000 Demon Mountain range. Qin is worried when he learns that the beasts are from the Myriad Race's demon cult, but Qinshan assures him that they're just low-level Tier 2 and Tier 3. Qin is still not convinced and warns that Qinshan is trying to work the students into their graves by making them face a Tier 3 beast from the Myriad Race's demon cult. But Qinshan believes this training is necessary to prepare them for how cruel the Myriad Race's war has become. Unable to reason with him, Qin decides to rest his case and just watch how things unfold. He quietly hopes for Su Hong to focus on coming back alive instead of fighting for first place. Meanwhile, Qin's fears prove unfounded as Su Hong wreaks havoc throughout the 10,000 Demon Mountains. Using the first stance of the Nine Heavens Breaking Spear, he cuts down hordes of ferocious beasts with ease. He then unleashes the wood attribute martial art, Vine Strangling, effortlessly tearing a massive serpent beast to pieces. By nightfall, Su Hong faces off against a giant tiger beast and defeats it using the water attribute martial art, Water Dragon. Although impressed by the power of his newly learned techniques, he realizes they consume a tremendous amount of internal spiritual energy, preventing him from using them continuously in battle. Having accumulated enough martial Dao points, Su Hong searches for a secluded cave where he can safely attempt a breakthrough to Tier 2. Once inside, he begins channeling the 500 martial Dao points he has gathered into his vital blood, initiating the breakthrough process. While Su Hong is focused on breaking through, a strange dude arrives near the cave, grumbling about being sent on an errand. It soon becomes clear that his group is preparing some kind of sacrifice deep within the 10,000 Demon Mountain range. To ensure their plans are not disrupted, he has been tasked with scouting the surrounding area for any potential intruders. As he searches the area, he notices the corpse of a beast and immediately realizes that someone may be hiding inside the cave. Approaching the entrance, he calls out to the intruder, ordering them to come outside and accept a swift death. He even threatens to devour whoever is inside if they refuse to comply. A few minutes later, he enters the cave, and although he doesn't see Su Hong, the dude already figures that his strength must be at Tier 2 or Tier 3 since he was able to take down a Tier 2 blazing black tiger. While he's busy mouthing off threats, Su Hong hides behind the cave trying to figure out his next move. From his foul mouth, Su Hong can tell that the redhead is not a good guy. The way he looks down on Tier 3 martial artists makes Su Hong wonder if the guy is at Tier 4. Even though Su Hong broke through to Tier 2, he fears he's no match for a Tier 4 martial artist. So he decides the most important thing to do is find a way to escape the cave first. He then unleashes the water dragon to distract the intruder and buy himself a chance to flee. As Su Hong's water dragon rushes towards him, the redhead remains calm, and with a single flame strike, he blocks the attack. However, from the attack, the dude realizes that Su Hong is just an early stage Tier 2. While he's distracted, Su Hong tries to swiftly escape, but the redhead notices and chases after him. Since Su Hong slayed a blazing black tiger at the early stage Tier 2, the dude believes he's a genius. He then smugly boasts that his favorite pastime is slaying geniuses before they blossom. The guy suddenly stops in his tracks, looking puzzled when Su Hong stops running and pauses at the entrance of the cave. When he questions why he stopped, Su Hong explains that it's because he figured out the guy's level. Judging from the vital blood the dude emitted while chasing him, Su Hong could tell that he was only an early stage Tier 3 martial artist. Su Hong says he only ran away, thinking the dude was at least a Tier 4. He then reveals that the tattoo on the guy's neck is from the Celestial race, meaning the guy is from the Myriad Race's demon cult. Apparently, the Myriad Race's demon cult is actually humans who detest being humans. They take pride in becoming part of the Myriad Races and are basically terrorists who attack and capture humans to sacrifice them to the Myriad Races to obtain power. And the one thing Su Hong hates the most in this life is the Myriad Races. Enraged, Su Hong blows hot, calling the redhead the scum of the earth, deserving of death. But this dude is even more fired up as he fearlessly charges towards Su Hong, challenging him. As he leaps forward, the guy unleashes a powerful fire attribute attack known as the Heavenly Slash. Despite the gap in their levels, Su-hong remains calm instead of rushing forward rashly. Since this is his first time fighting a Tier 3 martial artist, he decides to bring out the big guns. First, he unleashes the first stance of the 9 Heavens Breaking Spears, overturning the river, and easily blocks the dude's attack. Su-hong is disappointed by this because he was expecting some kind of resistance. But the attack of a so-called Tier 3 was dispersed so easily and in a single hit. Meanwhile, the redhead is utterly stunned by what he just witnessed. He can't believe that he's losing despite being a level above and using an A-rank martial art. What baffles him more is the fact that he thought Su-hong is a water attribute user, so he's quite confused about how he also has a thunder attribute. Refusing to accept his L like a king, the redhead unleashes a flurry of attacks, hoping that one of them would be a hit. Unfortunately for him, Su-hong effortlessly dodges them and, without warning, sneaks up behind him. Before the dude can react, he unleashes the second move, inverting the C, leaving the dude completely confused. Realizing he might have messed with the wrong monster, the dude decides to flee, noting that Su-hong's power far surpasses his puny Heavenly Sunslash. But just as he's about to retreat, Su-hong traps him in the wood prison, leaving him more confused than ever. The dude begins counting the 3 attributes he has seen so far, and none of what he's witnessing makes any sense. To make matters worse, Su-hong finishes him off with a little bit of Palm Thunder martial arts. However, when the dust settles, there is only a shell of the redhead left behind, making Su-hong realize that the guy somehow managed to escape. Elsewhere in the forest, the dude materializes out of thin air, putting himself back together like Humpty Dumpty. He admits that Su-hong is a monster and not just some basic genius. Unfortunately, just as his body finishes materializing, Su-hong appears out of nowhere, refusing to let the dude escape. The guy is clearly terrified, but before he can make any moves, Su-hong traps him inside the flame cage and immediately attacks him using the 9 Heavens Breaking Spears. Su-hong thrusts the spear straight into the guy's chest, shattering him into a million little pieces. However, his head remains intact only to call Su-hong a monster before turning to stone, ending his miserable life. For defeating a mutated celestial, Su-hong earns over 200 martial Dao points. Su-hong is surprised that defeating a myriad race's demon cultists gave him more points than fighting several beasts. After killing several beasts for so long in the mountain, he only obtained 500 points, but only one mutated celestial earned him quite a good number. Su-hong then recalls that the demon dude said something about a sacrifice. This makes him wonder if they captured humans for their so-called sacrifice. After thinking about it for a few minutes, he decides to inform Qin about it. Back in Hang City training camp, Qin receives the message that Su-hong encountered someone from the myriad race's demon cult. He then informs Qin-shan about the sacrifice and Su-hong's appeal to send a team to rescue humans who were captured. Qin-shan informs Qin that they don't need to send anyone because this time the cultists are sacrificing themselves, which is actually a good thing. Qin is not surprised to hear this, since the myriad race's demon cult has been known to be total psycho weirdos. As Qin continues to calmly sip his tea, Qin-shan reminds him that Su-hong might be in danger. But Qin isn't even slightly worried and tells him that Su-hong already took down the Tier 3 demon cultists. Qin-shan refuses to believe that a Tier 1 took down a Tier 3 martial artist and a myriad race's demon cultist at that. He tells Qin to stop bragging, but Qin has no intention of fighting to convince such an unbeliever. 3 days later, Su-hong is still farming martial Dao points by taking down fierce beasts. He planned to take out a few myriad races demon cultists, since they give him more martial Dao points. But after 3 days of searching, Su-hong hasn't come across any soul. His vital blood has increased to a little over 500, and even his spirit added a few more points, though slow as usual. All his other stats remain the same except for the Bone Nether Flame Fist and Flame Cage martial arts, which have both improved to minute subtlety. What disappoints Su-hong more is that after days of hunting several monsters, he only has a little over 800 martial Dao points, and this is less than he'd get for taking down 4 myriad races demon cultists. Thanks to his protagonist's plot armor, the universe answers Su-hong's prayer by delivering a woman from the myriad races demon cult. The girl commends him for having such sharp senses and even flirts with him, not knowing that she's messing with the wrong dude. To teach Su-hong a lesson for trespassing on their turf, she decides to end him on the spot. She immediately attacks him with frost spikes, but Su-hong remains calm. In fact, he's clearly pleased that his precious martial Dao value was delivered right to his doorstep by Amazon. Su-hong then blocks her attack using the water dragon, but as a thick fog surrounds him, she tries to grab him from behind with a whip. Su-hong catches the whip just in time and plans to drill the girl for the location of the rest of her group. He then grabs the whip and drags her towards him, leaving her stunned and unable to resist. As he drags her towards himself, Su-hong uses the Bone Nether Flame Fist to slam her into the ground. He then threatens her to reveal the location of the myriad race's demon cult. Without hesitation, she gives him the coordinates and promises to tell him everything as long as he spares her life. Su-hong then asks how many Tier 3 martial artists are at their stronghold.
She replies that there are 3 of them, including herself and 3 Tier 2 martial artists. Since he has already taken out the redhead dude earlier, plus this girl, Suhong reasons that they must have just 1 remaining. With only 1 Tier 3 remaining, Suhong plans to wipe out the demon cult stronghold and earn thousands of martial Dao points. This is because he wants to use some of the points to break through Tier 2 of telekinesis. While Suhong is distracted thinking about his precious points, the girl breaks free, mocking him for underestimating her. She also swears never to let him off before transforming into her mutated celestial form. Looking like some ugly human bat hybrid, she boasts that her power will double with this transformation, and it'll be enough to tear Suhong into pieces. Unfortunately, the problem with villains is that they talk too much, and before she can even finish her villain monologue, Suhong's thunder spear thrusts straight through her chest. He then grabs the spear, telling her that her cult has committed way too many horrible sins, so he doesn't plan to let even a single person go scot-free. With that, Suhong finishes her off in 1 strike, telling her to contribute to his precious martial Dao points. After murking her, he gains a little over 200 points, making him very satisfied. Somewhere deep in the mountain, the Myriad Race's demon cult is seen next to their sacrificial altar, surrounding a couple of geniuses from the Hang City training camp. One of them curses under his breath for trusting a demon cultist who told them that there were only 3 people in the stronghold. Apparently, they were also told that the stronghold only has Tier 2 martial artists, but looking at the group now, every single one of them is a Tier 3 martial artist. A few moments later, the commander, Blood, orders his people to murk the 3 geniuses. Hearing this, the demon cultists are hyped up as they look forward to sacrificing them to their lords. It turns out the 3 of them are mid-stage Tier 2, and the one thing Myriad Race's demon cultists hate is geniuses. Despite knowing they're about to be toast, the trio refuses to give up without a fight and swear to take the cultists down with them. Determined to go down in style, the only girl in the group assures them that their master will avenge their deaths. Meanwhile, the so-called masters, Qinshan and Qin, watch the whole thing unfold from a distance. Qinshan even fishes for praise from Qin regarding the 3 geniuses of Hang City. Qin is truly impressed that they're prepared to give up their lives against over a dozen Tier 3 demon cultivators. Qinshan decides to let them fight a little bit and only save them if absolutely necessary. However, Qin tells him that they might not need to step in, as he notices Suhong rushing towards the sacrificial stronghold. Thinking Qin must be high on fake juice, Qinshan tells him to stop daydreaming. He refuses to believe that a Tier 1 trash can save people from the hands of several Tier 3 martial artists. Meanwhile, the 3 geniuses are still holding their ground, and one of them tells the other 2 to leave while he serves as bait to buy them time. However, they refuse to leave anyone behind and would rather perish together. Just as the demon cultist leaps forward to finish them, the trio resign their fates as their lives flash before their eyes. But a miracle suddenly happens as Suhong's lightning spear saves them at the last minute. The spear practically drills a minor trench separating the cult members from the trio. An eerie silence settles amongst them as they behold the bizarre scene displayed before them. Not having seen who threw the spear, the cultists begin to scan around, searching for the intruder. Before they can figure it out, Suhong leaps out of nowhere, swiftly crushing them like ants with the Palm Thunder martial art. Before long, he breezes through the group like the Flash, leaving behind only a trail of lightning and corpses. After handling them, Suhong quickly stops to check on the trio, but they are too stunned to speak to him. One of them immediately recognizes him as the crazy, powerful Suhong from the Star City training camp. The other dude praises Suhong for being so strong and taking down several Tier 3 martial artists in an instant. Meanwhile, Qinshan is starting to become a believer and wonders how Suhong is able to use Palm Thunder. Because Qin asked him to teach Suhong a healing martial art, Qinshan thought he possessed the wood attribute. Even Qin isn't able to answer because he's too stunned to see Suhong using Palm Thunder continuously, which can only mean he broke through to a Tier 2 martial art practitioner. Qin is especially amazed that Suhong was only in the early stage Tier 1 when he entered the camp. And before he departed for the special mission, he was at a high stage Tier 1. It's only been a few days since Qin last saw him, so he finds it hard to wrap his head around Suhong's absurd cultivation speed. Back in the sacrificial stronghold, Suhong orders the trio to leave while he handles things here. They immediately obey, but warn him to be careful. Unbeknownst to them, Suhong is actually chasing them off to prevent them from stealing his precious Dao point. At first, he appears to be angry that the woman from earlier lied about the number of people in the stronghold. But the next moment, a wicked grin spreads on his face as he secretly stakes his ownership on the demon cultists like a kid who just found a huge pile of candy. Suhong knows that taking down just one of them gives him a little over 200 martial Dao points, and right now, there are at least over a dozen of them. As Suhong muses over his precious points, they furiously charge towards him, yelling and cursing while he secretly relishes the moment. In an instant, Suhong effortlessly crushes them, leaving nothing but a trail of blood.
Afterwards, he turns to finish the remaining ones with the palm thunder technique, but they're too terrified as they begin begging for their pathetic lives. However, Suhong annihilates them, and as their screams echo through the forest, they call for their commander to save them, but the commander ignores all the commotion as he ascends the steps of the sacrificial stronghold. When he finally reaches the top, the commander proudly tells his fellow cultists that their sacrifice will never be forgotten. Suddenly, the blood from all the corpses begins to converge towards the center of the altar, leaving Suhong puzzled. He watches as the blood completely swallows the commander. Suhong figures that this must be what they meant by sacrifice. A few minutes later, an actual celestial being named Tianming descends after the blood sacrifice. He proudly mocks Suhong, asking why he's not kneeling to the noble celestial race. While the celestial dude is trying to farm aura, Suhong stares at him like meat on a chopping block. He excitedly looks forward to the amount of martial Dao points he can get for taking down an actual celestial, since murking a mere demon cultist is quite profitable. The celestial dude, Tianming, soon notices Suhong staring at him and feels disrespected that Suhong dared to gaze upon his royal heavenliness. To teach him a lesson for his insolence, Tianming suddenly attacks him. Suhong is actually stunned by the speed of his movement, and for the first time, he feels a bit uneasy. Before he can react in time, Tianming unleashes a powerful punch, but Suhong manages to successfully block it. Tianming finds it impressive that someone that strong exists among the younger generation of humans. Suhong, on the other hand, is still recovering from the aftereffects of Tianming's attack that almost crushed his wrist. He admits that the celestial dude is actually strong. Meanwhile, Tianming is excited to encounter such a formidable opponent. He thought this possession that followed the demon cult's sacrifice was the usual mission to wipe out a few humans, but meeting Suhong has hyped him up and he looks forward to crushing him since letting him live will pose a serious threat to the celestial race. Unfortunately, Tianming realizes that he doesn't have much time as his body begins to collapse. Apparently, the body he possesses is at least tier 4, and now it's collapsing way too fast. However, Tianming believes that it is more than enough to crush Suhong. Planning to finish Suhong before his mortal body collapses, Tianming charges towards him to deliver another punch. In the meantime, Suhong tries to understand what Tianming's words mean. After considering it for a second, Suhong realizes that Tianming isn't actually a true celestial. Apparently, he's just a human shell possessed by a celestial being. This at least gives him the courage to boldly face Tianming as he charges forward, determined to see who gets to laugh last. Before long, a fierce battle breaks out between the two of them as each one clashes, trying to assert dominance over the other. Qin, who has been watching the whole thing like a match spectator, is amazed by Tianming's endurance. He notes that the physical body of a celestial body must be powerful to be able to keep up with Suhong's monstrous strength. Qin Shan, on the other hand, is more interested in Suhong than the celestial. He can't believe Suhong is fighting an actual celestial with pure strength and even giving him a hard time. Back on the battlefield, Suhong releases a flurry of punches while Tianming struggles just to block them, and the most shocking thing of all is that Suhong is a whole realm below this so-called celestial. A few moments later, Suhong delivers the last blow, causing Tianming to stagger backwards. Tianming, already looking battered, questions Suhong about his physique. He notes that his strength has never failed him while facing even the rated geniuses of all races. Even though he can't use his full celestial power due to the limitations of this mortal body, a mere human should not be able to resist him to this extent. Seeing the expression on Tianming's face, Suhong mocks him for running out of fuel. He clearly seems to be enjoying himself and feels he hasn't experienced anything as exhilarating as this ever since he awakened the Overlord physique. This is because he used to hold back his power for fear of harming someone. However, while facing the myriad races demon cult and a celestial, he can go all out and simply focus on actually hurting his opponent. Meanwhile, Tianming tries to blame his weakness on his collapsing physical body, but Suhong stops him mid-sentence, saying he also wishes to fight the real celestial body. That way he can thoroughly enjoy this exhilarating fight even more. Enraged by Suhong's humiliating words, Tianming decides to bring out his big guns. He activates the Divine Treasury, an ultimate skill that can rain down several divine spears from the sky. Suhong is utterly mesmerized by the sight before him to the point of dropping his very little earthly spear. He notes that the golden spears are capable of annihilating a Tier 3 martial artist. As usual, Suhong tries to copy this technique, but the system notifies him that it cannot be learned. Suhong is stunned to discover that there are martial arts that cannot be comprehended by the mortal mind. It turns out Tianming's Divine Treasury skill is the Celestial's innate martial art, and apparently only those with the pure bloodline can wield it. Qin figures that Tianming must be a big shot among the Celestials since his bloodline is extremely pure. Qin Shan, already panicking for Suhong's safety, tells him to stop worrying about Tianming's identity and save Suhong. He says they can't let an important treasure like Suhong perish at such a critical moment, but Qin stops Qin Shan from stepping in and tells him to wait for Suhong to use his ultimate move.
Qinshan is shocked when Qin casually reveals that Su Hong has 100% affinity in all 7 attributes. He also reveals that Su Hong mastered the fusion of thunder and fire attributes when he was only at the early stage, Tier 1. Back on the battlefield, Qianming prepares to end Su Hong, saying he can't be allowed to live as his very existence poses a massive threat. He then summons the spears to attack, declaring that Su Hong dies today. As the golden spears rush towards him, Su Hong remains calm. Since Qianming is forcing him to go all out, Su Hong whips up the Holy Grail third stance of the 9 heaven-breaking spears, heaven-shattering. He then unleashes a powerful bolt of lightning, completely deflecting all the golden spears and turning them to mush. It is at this very moment that Qianming realized he had messed with the wrong human. As the lightning spear heads towards him, he doesn't even know how to react and just accepts his celestial L without putting up a fight. Su Hong's strike tears through Qianming, completely obliterating him into a million little pieces like his tiny, fragile ego. After the dust settles, Su Hong gains a whopping 843 martial Dao points for slaying Qianming's mortal shell. Su Hong is quite satisfied with this, and just then, the old geezers arrive with Qinshan calling Su Hong all sorts of endearing names, leaving Su Hong a bit confused. Without warning, he begins squishing him all over as if he just stumbled on a precious gem. He can't believe that a Tier 2 martial artist defeated an actual celestial. Su Hong is confused that they're making such a fuss over a mere celestial. His mid-reaction leaves Qin wondering whether such a feat isn't considered a huge deal in Su Hong's eyes. Basically, Su Hong thinks Qianming is just an ordinary celestial among the top 10 in the myriad heavens. Since an ordinary dude forced him to use his ultimate move, Su Hong believes the geniuses of the celestial race must be terrifyingly powerful. Qinshan and Qin stare at him as if he has a few loose screws because only they know that the person Su Hong just faced is considered one of the top dogs among the celestial race. Seeing the weird look on their faces, Su Hong asks if he said something wrong, but the 2 old geezers decide not to reveal what they know. They swallow their words, choosing to allow Su Hong to keep thinking he defeated an insignificant celestial dude. 4 days later, the students return to the training camp after the completion of their 7-day exile in the 10,000 Demon Mountain Range. As usual, Su Hong takes the first place, scoring over 17,000 points, while the 3 Hang City geniuses manage to get over 4,000 each. Su Hong's scores leave everyone in awe, making them wonder whether someone rigged the scoreboards. One of the geniuses Su Hong saved in the sacrificial stronghold defends him, explaining that Su Hong's strength is invincible. Another one of them chimes in, explaining how Su Hong single-handedly took down several Tier 3 demon cultists in an instant. With so much happening, everyone begins to scan the arena for Su Hong, but someone informs them that he's learning an A-rank martial art from Grandmaster Qinshan. Elsewhere, Su Hong has finished learning the healing martial art in less than a day, leaving Qinshan amazed. Qin lets him know that insane things like this have become an everyday thing for Su Hong. Back in the training room, Su Hong is pleased with the effect of the healing martial art he learnt from Qinshan. Apparently, it is known as the most valuable healing technique, and it even erased Su Hong's old scars. Afterwards, Su Hong checked out his stats, and he was able to gather about 4,800 martial Dao points after 7 days in the wilderness. With this point, he plans to increase his spirit to 500 and break through to Tier 2 Spirit Master. Apart from increasing his spirit point, he also wants to boost his vital blood a bit. Meanwhile, in the Celestial Temple of the Celestial Race Planet, Qianming is scolded by the Celestial Council for losing to a mere human. They mock him for being suppressed by Su Hong and still losing after using the Divine Treasury. Qianming tries to explain that there's nothing human about the dude he faced. The council then calls for another celestial dude named Tianshang and orders him to issue a bounty on Su Hong. He is ordered to eliminate Su Hong at all costs to prevent him from becoming a threat in the future. Overly confident in his skills, Tianshang smugly accepts the council's command. They then ask if he has found any divine artifact fragments within the human territory. Tianshang explains that he hasn't found any, but reveals that they have some promising news about it. The council then orders him to keep searching and make sure to prevent humans from knowing about it. Back in the Star City training camp, Tantuo and his group have been training like their lives depended on it. Their daily sessions have even become a topic of discussion among everyone in the camp. It turns out they have been practicing non-stop after Su Hong trashed the floor with their dignity. Now, instead of strutting through camp like shaved peacocks, the trio spends all their time inside the gravity and ferocious beast room. They also trade all their contribution points for pills to boost their strength. Their hard work definitely paid off because the trio broke through to Tier 2 within a month. Even the flamboyant Singy, who loves being a pretty flower boy, is now a dedicated muscle junkie. And all 3 of them have the same goal, to challenge Su Hong to another match. Later on, Qin returns to the camp, but without Su Hong, and when Linza asks him about it, he reveals that Su Hong went into the forest to train for a few more days. The training camp ends in a few days, so Linza is worried that Su Hong might not make it back in time.
However, Chin assures him that Suhong knows his limits and will surely return to camp on time. 2 days later, Suhong is seen cultivating on top of the peak of a mountain, unaffected by the giant serpent slithering its way to the top. Suhong uses his martial Dao points to increase his spirit to 500 as he planned. Just as the serpent finally makes it to the top and tries to munch on him, Suhong pushes back with just the wave of his palm now that he's proficient in telekinesis. He then casually uses the weapon condensation art to craft a giant spirit sword, which he effortlessly uses to tear the serpent into fine pieces like sausages. As he watches the corpse of the serpent plop down the cliff, Suhong is amazed by the power of Tier 2 telekinesis. Since his spirit has significantly increased, he plans to try to fuse 3 attributes. Since he has fused thunder and fire, Suhong wants to add metal to the mix. However, the moment they meet each other, they immediately become volatile. Before Suhong can control it, he loses control, causing it to explode. The shockwave shatters the cliff, and a few minutes later, Suhong finds himself in a pile of rubble, covered in soot from being struck by lightning. Despite the failure, he's still amazed that a failed fusion is that powerful, meaning if it succeeds, it might even take down a Tier 4 martial artist. On the last day of the training camp, Suhong returns to camp, causing quite a stir as everyone rushes to inform the genius trio. The students look forward to such a sensational challenge and speculate about the winner. Meanwhile, Tantuo and his gang inform Chin about their wish to challenge Suhong. Chin simply asks if they really think they can win. The trio, with the confidence of a male peacock, replies in unison that they will win. Just then, Suhong walks up to them, asking if they really want to challenge him. Tantuo confidently tells him not to underestimate them, while Singhi proudly boasts that they have already broken through to Tier 2. Xiao even dares to boast that she can beat Suhong all by herself. After listening to their unimpressive resumes, Suhong feels bad about bursting their pretty little bubble. First, he apologizes before revealing that he's also at Tier 2. This revelation leaves Tantuo and Singhi stunned with a million questions. But not Xiao, who believes she's different because, apart from being a Tier 2 martial artist, she's also a Tier 1 spirit telekinetic. She goes as far as demonstrating her spirit weapon condensation, but the next moment, Suhong crushes her pathetic little wand with his gigantic sword, throwing her off balance. Afterwards, he apologizes to Xiao before proudly revealing that he's also a spirit telekinetic. Xiao can't believe that Suhong is actually a Tier 2, while Tantuo shockingly realizes that Suhong didn't use a fraction of his true strength during the combat assessment. As Singhi reads out Suhong's stats, he realizes that the gap between them is like heaven and earth. Suhong then announces that all students in the camp should attack him together. Unbeknownst to them, he just wants to use them to farm his precious martial Dao points before leaving the camp. Seeing how terrifying he looks, the students shrink back in fear and immediately surrender. But Suhong refuses to let them go scot-free without contributing their dues to his martial Dao points. Despite their protests, he turns them into his personal punching bag while they scream for help. Meanwhile, Baimu and Linz scold Chin for not telling them that Suhong is a telekinetic. But to Chin, this revelation is also news, and he tries to wrap his head around it. Seeing the expression on his face, Baimu figures that Chin was also kept in the dark. Unable to say anything better, Chin simply laughs like a madman, calling Suhong the ultimate monster. He adds that Suhong is a once-in-a-millennium monster, and thanks to this, the human race may have found its savior. While Suhong wipes the floor clean with his classmates, Baimu wonders whether to intervene, but Linsa tells her to let them be. Suddenly, Chin senses trouble just as the King Rock appears above the training camp, telling them that their 30-day contract is up. He then angrily yells at everyone to leave his turf. Thanks to his appearance, Suhong stops his rampage, giving everyone a chance to catch their breath. Chin is enraged and blows hot as he curses at the bird for disrespecting him. He declares that they'll leave on their own, and the bird has no right to kick them out. As the situation escalates, Chin attacks the giant bird. The bird tries to protest, claiming he's not afraid of Chin, but before he can finish talking, Chin punches him in the face. Without giving him any space to catch his breath, Chin continues to attack the bird while Suhong watches them, amazed by the power of a Tier 7 master martial artist. He even likens their clash to a battle between celestials. Meanwhile, Chin and the bird continue bickering, and as Chin tugs at the bird's feathers, the bird smugly boasts that he came with a superior backer. Chin, however, remains completely unfazed, boldly declaring that he would beat up the so-called superior backer as well. Suddenly, a thunderous voice echoes from above, commanding them to stop. The moment Chin hears it, a chill runs down his spine, making him uneasy. Out of nowhere, an eerie dark figure emerges, and it turns out to be the Lord of Myriad Demons. Linz is surprised that the King Rock actually has connections to the Lord of the Myriad Demons. Basically, the Lord of the Myriad Demons is among the strongest beings in the Myriad Demons mountain range. Even the weakest among them is at Tier 9, while some even reach the King Realm above Tier 9.
Su-hong can only stare in silent awe as he gazes upon such an overwhelming powerhouse. Since he is only Tier 2 at that point, Su-hong categorically knows that the gap between him and the demons is like heaven and earth. He realizes that he wouldn't even be able to do anything if superpowers like the demon god decide to attack Star City. Nonetheless, Su-hong is determined to reach the highest realm one day. The Golden Bird finally retreats after promising Qin that it is going to deal with him later. Qin is not essentially worried about the appearance of the demon god because he knows that the demons have an agreement with humanity, so the powerhouse cannot casually make a move, which means the younger generation is safe to an extent. Even with the appearance of the demon lord, the training camp concluded as it should have. Su-hong is excited to see his uncle and auntie since he is pretty sure that they are already worried about him. Before getting on the bus, Chen and Tu find him, urging him to stay cool with them because they are pretty sure he is going to become a celebrity once they return to the city. Su-hong assures the two that he holds no grudge against them, letting them know that he would have even forgotten the whole issue if they hadn't reminded him. The students are informed that they have to head to the city lord's estate where a banquet is being held, and this is to thank the students for their hard work. While the others are celebrating this, Su-hong is basically frustrated that he won't get to see his aunt and uncle as quickly as he planned. Meanwhile, at the city lord's estate, Su-hong's parents have been invited to the banquet and are placed at a high table. The two are left totally shocked, and the same thing goes for the elites who are present in the hall. They are absolutely gutted that two gutter rats are invited to the hall. They assume that it is a mistake on the part of the waiters who just let anyone they see in. Su-hong's auntie asks her husband if they are not embarrassing Su-hong with the way they are dressed, but he reminds her that they are wearing their best outfits, so they have no choice. The two are discussing how rough everything is when Lee shows up with a bright smile on his face, introducing himself to the two. Their hearts almost vibrated out of their bodies when Lee approached them, but he urged them to stay calm, telling them that they had no reason to be nervous. Lee is still taking things cool when Wu rushes in to shake Su-hong's uncle, while using the opportunity to introduce herself. She lets the two know that their boy, Su-hong, is the best genius she's ever seen. Wu's presence only makes the two even more nervous, but the elites, on the other hand, are all left in shock. They wonder why the principal and even Wu are talking to the two ragtags. At the same time, Wang Ni, Tantuo's father and also the lord of the city, is having a friendly conversation with his peers Xiao and Xinghe's fathers. The trio boasts about how impressive their kids are, and they are very confident that they are going to return as the top students of the training camp. The argument between the trio on who has the best child soon gets so loud that Lee asks Wu to stop them. However, she rejects the suggestion, saying she might have to beat the trio up for acting like kids. In addition, she is pretty sure that once Su-hong arrives, their little show-off is going to come to an end. Lee is surprised at how much Wu thinks of Su-hong, who is only at the early stage of Tier 1. Wu confidently replies that she is trusting her intuition, which is the best thing a woman has. Moments later, the announcement comes in that the special transport from the training camp has arrived. Wang Ni excitedly tells everyone to prepare themselves to welcome the pride of their city. Moments later, the three geniuses stepped out of the vehicle and they were looking all bruised up and battered, shocking their parents. Their precious faces have basically been turned inside out, forcing the concerned parents to ask their children what actually happened. Suddenly, they notice that the trio has all broken through to Tier 2, which is great news for all of them. However, the trio tells their parents to keep calm because there is someone even worse than them. Just then, Su-hong steps out of the bus and there is a guard of honor waiting for him. He can't believe that he is being forced to partake in the show that has been arranged for him. His only concern is how he is going to go home and enjoy the nice meal that his guardians would have prepared for him. Suddenly, he sees his guardians rushing toward him in the distance, and this is when the other bitter elites found out that Su-hong is their child. Su-hong's aunt trips from excitement, but before she can crash to the ground, Su-hong catches her with a telekinetic sphere. This leaves his guardians completely blown away, and it also brings up questions of what sort of martial art he is using, but he digresses just to make sure that his auntie is fine. The two let him know how worried they have been, but he assures them that he is fine. On the other hand, the city lord and his friends are freaking out after seeing what Su-hong can actually do. Even Lee and Wu turn to each other with anger, asking themselves at the same time why the other didn't mention that Su-hong is a telekinetic. It is at this point that it finally dawns on them that none of them knew this. The two jump up for joy because they now have a powerful kid to back them up, which means their respective positions are safe. The other elites and powerful families who are present on the scene start making calls concerning Su-hong. There are some who want him to marry into their family, and there are some who are already preparing big gifts for Su-hong to entice him. Just then, Wang Ni walks up to Su-hong, telling him that he has lived up to his title as Star City's #1 genius, and because of this, he will be given a villa and 3 million in cash. Wang Ni claims that it is the prize he had prepared for the first-place winner of the training camp, but the other elites know that this is a damn lie. They are confident that he has just put together the gift to pull in Su-hong and get him on his side. Wang Ni takes it a step further, telling Su-hong that if there is anything he needs in the future, he should not hesitate to ask, promising that he is going to do everything in his power to help. Su-hong hears this, and with the man reaching out for a handshake, he figures out that he is publicly trying to win him over. Since he is the city lord, he is going to be offended if he refuses him. But at the same time, if he allies himself with Wang Ni, he won't be able to refuse any requests he makes of him in the future. Since Wang Ni holds the absolute power in the city, Su-hong knows that it would be unwise of him to get on his bad side. However, he knows that it would be a big plus for him to ally himself with him because this will help protect his family while he is out of town. Su-hong remembers that he has Qin, Wu, and even Li behind him, so there is no way Wang Ni is forcing him to do what he doesn't want to. After weighing his options, Su-hong takes the man's hands, thanking him for his kindness while revealing that he actually needs his help. Su-hong immediately reveals that his aunt is suffering from a rare disease, so he would appreciate it if the city lord could help with this. Without hesitation, Wang Ni tells his assistant to handle the matter, telling him to make sure Su-hong's aunt gets the best medical resources that are available. Wang Ni then proceeds to ask Su-hong if there is anything else he would like, telling him that he likes straightforward men. Su-hong decides to ride on this, and he tells the man that he would like a solid weapon. Without thinking twice, Wang Ni tells Su-hong to follow him to the armory, where he can pick whatever weapon he likes. Deep down, Wang Ni is ready to give Su-hong everything he wants, because the more he collects from him, the more he owes him. Su-hong then tells his guardians to wait for him while he goes to the armory. Wang Ni also leaves the celebration to Tantuo, and seeing how Su-hong's parents are being treated, the elites realize that Su-hong's family is definitely going to the top. Upon arriving at the armory, Wang Ni shows him where the A-rank and B-rank weapons are stashed, telling him to make his pick. Su-hong is surprised at how much the city lord is ready to sacrifice just to win him over because an A-rank alloy weapon is worth hundreds of millions. Su-hong then asks Wang Ni if he has any multi-attribute alloy weapons, and this surprises Wang Ni, who curiously asks Su-hong if he is a multi-attribute martial practitioner. Su-hong proudly informs him that he is capable of handling multiple attributes, and he shows him what he can do, while pushing Qin into the conversation, telling Wang Ni that the Grandmaster told him to choose a multi-attribute weapon. Wang Ni almost loses his mind when he realizes that Su-hong is capable of handling the 7 attributes, and this is exactly what Su-hong wants because the more talent he shows Wang Ni, the more he is going to value him. Wang Ni is also surprised that Su-hong's cultivation is pretty fast, since it is said that cultivating multiple attributes slows down one's progress immensely. Wang Ni is completely overwhelmed by the whole thing, and he just cannot fathom the idea that a monster like Su-hong was born in Star City. Wang Ni then wears an expression of disappointment before telling Su-hong that multi-attribute alloy weapons are extremely rare, so he only has a few dual-attribute ones in the armory. Wang Ni goes through the weapons in the armory, and he whips out a B-rank black gold iron spearhead, which is the only weapon he has that can handle 3 attributes. Wang Ni asks Su-hong if he wants him to tear apart an A-rank alloy spear shaft to couple it with the spearhead, but Su-hong tells him that there is no need for this because his fire spear's shaft will do the job. Su-hong is pleased with this because he believes that a 3 attribute is more than enough for him with his current strength. Wang Ni then mentions that worldly anomalies have appeared near the city. In addition, there is a rumor that dual attribute and even multi-attribute fierce beasts are roaming about. Su-hong becomes curious when he hears this, and he asks the man what he means. Wang Ni lets him know that when he was away at the genius training camp, several anomalies occurred around the world, and in addition to multi-attribute fierce beasts appearing, multi-attribute natural treasures have been born too. He reveals that someone actually witnessed a thunder-attribute fierce beast spewing both thunder and flames after coming into contact with a shard-like object. As if this isn't enough, there are even reports that multi-attribute beasts have been spotted outside the city at a location called Stargazing Lake. Wang Ni lets Su-hong know that the lake is too dangerous at the moment, but he assures him that he will be able to find multi-attribute weapons once he enters a martial arts university in the future, so he doesn't have to rush and take unnecessary risks at the moment. After the whole conversation, Su-hong thanks the man for his guidance. A few hours after this, the residents in Su-hong's neighborhood are left in complete shock when they see an official vehicle in the area. They are completely stunned because they know that it is an exclusive vehicle that belongs to the city lord. The rude lady who offered to buy Su-hong's spot at the training camp is also present, and she wishes that it was her child who brought home the official car. Remembering the fact that Su-hong refuses her offer, she gets even angrier, and she promises herself that she is going to raise the rent on their house before kicking Su-hong's family out. She hasn't concluded her thought when the car door opens, and Su-hong and his guardians step out of the vehicle. This leaves everyone's jaw on the floor because this is the last thing anyone would have thought possible. Su-hong's uncle then walks up to the lady to tell her that they have been given a villa, so they are moving out the next day. This leaves the lady completely shocked, and the man tells her that they will need their rent balance. However, his wife tells him to leave the money for her because their family is now rich. As they walk into the house, the man even suggests that they move their tables and chairs to the villa, but his wife urges him to stop being stingy because Su-hong is now a big shot, so they basically lack nothing. The rude lady can only watch in surprise as they walk into the house, looking happy and glam. Later that night, Su-hong heads to the roof as usual to cultivate, and realizing that it is going to be the last time he will cultivate there, he starts missing the whole neighborhood. After he has upgraded his spirit points, he still has over 1,900 points left. He then upgrades his vital blood to break through to the mid-stage of Tier 2. After this, he decides to look up the worldly anomalies that Wang Ni mentioned. He grabs his phone and almost crushes it, and this lets him know that his body hasn't fully adapted to the mid-stage Tier 2 strength just yet. Su-hong starts reading articles about the anomalies, and he finds out that there is even a situation where grandmasters had to step in, revealing the severity of the whole issue. There's also an article that mentions that all the martial artists who witnessed the mysterious shard have all died in ways that cannot be explained. This leaves Su-hong considering his options, and even though he knows that he might not be able to beat a Tier 4 martial artist, he doesn't think escaping from one is going to be much of a problem. He then concludes that he is going to check out Stargazing Lake the next day after they are done moving to the villa. The following day, Su-hong's family receives a bulk of gifts from their new neighbors. There are so many presents that they are even worried that they won't have a place to store them all. It is pretty obvious that the rich neighbors are just trying to get on Su-hong's good side. They let Su-hong know that he can actually come by their house whenever he wants, and Su-hong nervously says yes. After a rigorous morning of attending to visitors, Su-hong finally gets some time for himself, and he is glad that he can actually get the chance to head to Stargazing Lake later that afternoon. At the martial artist base that afternoon, Su-hong is surprised that there are so many people at the base because he believes that all the martial artists should be heading to the Stargazing Lake when there are so many anomalies there. It turns out that the base is filled with Tier 1 martial artists who are scared to go outside thanks to the Tier 3 and Tier 4 martial artists who are at the lake. They know that they don't even have the strength to fight back if the high-ranked martial artists decide to rob them. Meanwhile, on the second floor of the base, White Fox's uncle, Yechi, asks a strange man if he is sure that Su-hong was the one who killed his nephew. The strange dude calmly replies that he is 100% sure, but just then, he gets up from his seat to unleash an overwhelming aura which knocks Yechi to his knees. He lets Yechi know that he has to watch his tone, and he is obligated to address him as Sir. Yechi trembles in front of the overwhelming power in front of him, and he quickly agrees to address the strange man as he wants. Later on, Su-hong heads to the Stargazing Lake, and he makes sure to keep himself hidden. At the lake, he realizes that it is filled with Tier 2 and Tier 3 martial artists. In fact, there are also Tier 4 martial artists on site. While observing the scene, a star-spotted giant fish, which is a Tier 3 beast, suddenly emerges from the lake, putting everyone on their toes. It turns out that it is also a dual-attribute water cannon, and the Tier 2 martial artists start running away. However, a defensive attribute Tier 4 martial artist stays back to block the fish's attack, while boasting about his defense. However, his defense soon gets overwhelmed by the fish. Su-hong is surprised that the fish is able to break the dude's defense, while injuring him in the process too. Just then, another Tier 4 martial artist emerges out of nowhere and lunges toward the beast. The overly excited martial artist talks about how impatient he has been waiting for a beast of its caliber, and he delivers a powerful punch that knocks the fish to the ground. With the fish out of the water, the martial artist pounces on it, and in under a minute, they have decimated the fish. They cut up the fish, but they are all disappointed that there is no treasure whatsoever inside the fish. Su-hong is left in complete shock at how a Tier 3 beast is turned into a sashimi in just 1 minute. With this, he realizes that the Tier 4 martial artists are way too vicious for him, so he has to move away from them, or he won't get to hunt anything. Suddenly, he senses an attack coming from behind, and just as his head is about to fly off his neck, Su-hong engages his mental telekinetic power to slow down the attacker, while using the opportunity to leap out of the way. The attack hits the ground, leaving a massive shockwave, and seeing the pressure from the attack, Su-hong realizes that he is under attack from a Tier 4 martial artist. Su-hong doesn't even think twice before putting some distance between himself and the dude because he knows that he would definitely have died if he hadn't used his power to delay the dude's attack. Before Su-hong knows it, he realizes that the Tier 4 martial artist is not alone, and he has 6 more Tier 3 martial artists backing him up. As if this is not enough, there are also 7 Tier 3 martial artists coming from the other side. Su-hong cannot believe that over a dozen Tier 3 martial artists and a Tier 4 martial artist are aiming for his head. He weighs the whole situation, and realizes that even the city lord doesn't have this kind of pull, leaving Su-hong to start wondering who he had offended. Moments later, the assassins are already complaining of Su-hong's speed because the information they were given didn't let them know that he is capable of such impressive martial arts. Nonetheless, they are pretty sure that Suhong cannot beat them in a game of endurance. Unknown to them, Suhong has no intention of playing a game of endurance with them, and he soon leaps into the air. Right before their eyes, he flies off, leaving his assailants in the dust. They are left in total disbelief because it is not normal for a Tier 2 martial artist to be able to fly. After putting a bulk load of kilometers between them, Suhong finally comes to a halt. He is already breathing heavily like a goat, and this is because his vital blood has been depleted and his mana is almost out too. At the moment, he realizes that the only thing left for him is the sheer toughness of his overlord body, which he can use to run as far as possible using pure physical strength. At the same time, he wonders who is trying to kill him, but the only person he can think of is Yeki. He concludes that they paid a huge sum to assassins just to get rid of him. Even though he is pretty sure that he can handle the Tier 3 martial artists, his concern is the Tier 4 martial artist. He knows that if he goes after the Tier 3 martial artists first, he is going to be ambushed by the Tier 4 martial artist from behind. At the same time, if he goes after the Tier 4 martial artist first, he's going to get injured, which will lead to the Tier 3 martial artists surrounding him just to kill him. He figures out that unless he can take out the Tier 3 martial artists with extreme speed, he won't get a chance to fully focus on the Tier 4 martial artist. Meanwhile, the assassins are raging about the information that they were given. The assassins tell their boss, the Tier 4 dude, that they are going to be in big trouble if Suhong manages to return to the city. However, this isn't even the major issue because their employer is also a big problem. They are scared that their employer is going to tear them apart if they find out that they failed. Their leader then tells them that they have nothing to worry about because if Suhong returns to the city, he is only going to die faster. Just then, the celestial dudes appear in the distance, telling the assassins not to be so angry about the information that they were given because they only just found out the day before that Suhong is a Tier 2 mental telekinetic, which is why they were not able to update the information on time. However, they let the assassins know that this is a good thing because they have people stationed where there are anomalies. They are going to lock down the entire area, so it is up to the assassins to kill Suhong. And if they can't, they should be prepared to die. The Tier 4 martial artist thanks the dude for his help and assures him that he is going to tear Suhong apart. The next day, Suhong continues with his hunt inside the forest while the assassins follow his trail. This continues for the next 7 days. While he is busy hunting down monsters, the assassins chase him around the forest, and whenever he gets the chance, he takes out any of the Tier 3 martial artists who strays away from the pack before escaping from the Tier 4 martial artist. At this point, Suhong realizes that he is already exhausted, and he decides to head to the Star City official supply stronghold. Even though it is very risky, he knows he has no choice but to rest there for the night. He believes that his assailants shouldn't be so bold as to attack him directly on official territory. However, as he enters the stronghold, he can sense eyes watching him, and with this, he concludes that Yeki is the one who wants him dead.